Okay, let's see how this works. To see what? Oh, hi. Oh, hi. I see people joining. Hello. Hi, y'all. This is my first time doing a live on TikTok. Okay, this is my first time doing a TikTok live. So, I don't know how this quite works. Hey, hi, y'all. Hi. I don't know how this quite works, but, yeah, peace. How you doing? We figuring it out. Okay, if you know me, you know that I'm another app kind of live girl. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But I just want to try something new and see how that goes. Um, we'll see if I'm gonna keep on going live on here, depending on how it goes. But oh, thank you. I appreciate this, y'all. Oh, y'all are really coming in. Okay. All right. So yeah, y'all. Some of y'all may not know me from other apps and things like that, or you may not be in the wellness community, which is like my spiritual community. But I am the Queen Poe. I am a holistic wellness consultant. I don't know what else to say about myself other than other than that. I am originally from New York, from Brooklyn, New York. But I always say I was raised above and below. But you said, oh, we know you. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. I'm explaining myself for the new folks who may not know me, But yeah, so I always say I was raised above and below Bible Belt because I was raised between New York, Virginia, and Georgia. I graduated high school in Augusta, Georgia. Okay, my mother's side of my family is from the deep, deep South, the Low Country. So they're from all up the coast. Between Georgia, South Carolina, we go all up the coast into northern Georgia and lower South Carolina area. Okay, so we all over that area. You from Augusta? Ah, okay. I graduated from Richmond, from the Academy of Richmond County. Okay, shout out to the Musketeers. But I lived in Jenny Home Projects right by Josie. Okay, so I was supposed to go to Josie, but I didn't. We used somebody else's address, huh? Okay. But yes, okay, NYC, that's where I live now. I moved back to New York. But I still, travel back and forth between New York, Virginia, and Georgia. When I was in Virginia, I was living in Richmond, Virginia. I still have family there, so I'm still in all three places quite often. But yes, so that's where I'm from, y'all. For any TikTok family who may not know me on other apps, y'all know if you follow me on other apps, I be telling all my business on the tube. Okay, I tell all my business over there. But and you said my ex graduated from Richmond in '95. Okay. Somebody, no, I don't know you. I don't know you. Okay, somebody asked to join the live. Y'all, this is my first time on TikTok live, so I don't know how this works. I'm trying to figure out how this goes. Hey. Oh, this is my niece. Hey, niece. I thought so. Some people could just call me auntie and say, hey, auntie. I didn't know that was my niece. That's my niece. But yeah, y'all. So I am a spiritualist, holistic wellness consultant. I've studied spirituality for decades at this point, for years, since I was very, very young. I come from a religiously diverse family, you know what I'm saying? But over time, I just grew up and was very interested in spirituality, constantly studied it. I've traveled the world studying spirituality, Bali, I don't know you. Bali, Ghana, South Africa, Ethiopia, Egypt, all kind of places I've traveled to, Italy, Portugal, Mexico, Jamaica, okay, all kind of places, just really studying spirituality. And that's where a lot of my knowledge comes from. It comes from growing up with my own family, as well as, studying spirituality through traveling and through reading and all that stuff. Oh, okay, I know, I can see how I do it now. But yeah, that's where my information and all my passion comes into healing and spirituality and all that. So that's just a little background on me. Y'all can feel free to ask any questions that you may have, anything you want to know. Yes, finally I am here on the TikTok live. Okay, I'm here on the TikTok live. I'm trying to start going live other places other than the tube. Y'all know, like I said, I'm a live on the tube type of person, but I'm trying to start going live other places and see how I like it. Okay, so we're gonna see how this goes. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I usually don't be on this app, y'all, because they got me shadow banned. They done shadow me. Okay, severely. So I usually don't even be engaging on here like that. But I said I should start engaging more and see how I like it. I appreciate the likes, y'all. I appreciate the likes. But yeah, y'all feel free to ask any questions, anything you may want to know. It could be about anything, ranging from spirituality. I put up a new moon video today and I was able to respond to some questions in the comments of that video. But like I said, I don't really be engaged on y'all. This is my first time going live. They got all kind of stuff popping up on the screen talking about swipe this way and all of that. I don't know what's going on. Okay. But yes, feel free to ask any questions. Can you tell me the signs of telepathy? Certain signs as in what? Like things you may feel, things you may see. So, okay, spiritual gifts. When it comes to understanding your spiritual gift and what spiritual gift you have, it's about what do you naturally feel, right? So if you want to know if you have like any type of gift of insight or gift of sight, mediumship or anything like that. It's about what signs and omens do you receive from the universe and how do you naturally feel? How do you naturally connect, right, to spirit? How do you receive downloads of information? How do you communicate with spirits? That's what really determines your spiritual gift when it comes to anything. Okay, so that's like a very broad question, but that's like a broad way to be able to determine what your spiritual gift is. It's about what natural gifts do you have. Okay, what should Geminis be watching out for during this new month? Okay, so with the new moon, the signs and stuff like that. The zodiac thing is very popular right now, and I love signs. I used to be very heavy into the zodiacs and stuff like that. I'm gonna do your Gemini, but I don't want to I'm not about to go through every sign. Okay, for everybody else. Okay, so I'm gonna do Gemini, but I'm not about to go through every sign. All right. So with Gemini for this new moon in Scorpio, right? So when we think about Scorpio and we think about that deep passion and deep desire, when we think about the new moon, new beginnings, you think about this solar eclipse bringing sudden shifts and change. What Gemini has to do is focus on remaining still, steady, and unpacking who you are. With Gemini, a lot of people confuse Gemini and saying like, oh, they got multiple personalities. They got split personalities. It's that Geminis are very intricate people. So to other people, it may seem like, oh, you have multiple personalities or you're two-faced or whatever like that. But with Geminis are very intricate and very multi-layered people. So with this sudden change, this sudden shift from the solar eclipse, as well as with Scorpio, you have to be mindful of going within and peeling back your own layers to really understand who you are. And making shifts, making changes to the energy, the manifestations, how you show up. When I'm saying manifestations, I'm not speaking about physical things. I'm talking about how you show up. Make shifts and changes as you see fit, as you need it. So as you are peeling back those layers of yourself, really understand and assess the mask you wear, how you present yourself to the public, right? How you present yourself to society. Think about how you feel when you are in your private life internally. With this full moon that just passed, right? This full moon in Aries, that brought up a lot of complications, right? A lot of not necessarily complications in a negative way, but like a lot of internal introspection, thought, and battles within, especially for Geminis. A lot of battles within. You may have noticed things about yourself that you like. I'm feeling turmoil about this. I'm feeling like I don't like this. I don't like that. You kind of been picking yourself apart lately, dealing specifically with Geminis. This new moon in Scorpio gives you the opportunity to really unpack those aspects of yourself that you've been picking apart, and maybe even that behavior of picking yourself apart. You may decide that that's not who you want to be. You don't want to be the type of person that picks yourself apart. So with this, you're just simply unpacking and peeling back the aspects of yourself that you like, you know what? I want to bring this more to the public. I like this part of me. I want to show this more to the public. So I'm going to shift that from my internal private self to my external public self. Okay. I hope that makes sense. So in sum, peel back the layers, decide who you are, really analyze, reevaluate, assess who you are when you are in private. Peel back those layers and decide what aspects of yourself, of your personality, do you want to shift more and show more publicly, be more open about, right? How do you want to communicate that? Okay. So this is why I could keep going, because it's a lot when it comes to like unpacking the signs and how they manifest and show up, especially with this new moon, the solar eclipse, and the Venus conjunction. You see, those are three different aspects, and to go through that with each sign, that's why I said I don't want to do each sign, because it could be a lot, but I hope that helped you a little bit, Gemini. And yeah, I hope that helped. Okay. There we go. I got it. Okay, let me see. Next question. Can you please talk about the right and left hand work? That right and left hand work, y'all know I put that video up, okay? And I didn't realize that video was going to ruffle some feathers in the hoodoo community. You hear me? Okay? I put the video up talking about how historically in hoodoo, you have the right hand is for receiving in hoodoo. The right hand is for receiving, the left hand is for giving, right? So the left hand is for cleansing, right? So when you are doing your cinnamon work and everything like that, you blow the cinnamon in with your right hand traditionally in hoodoo. But then I went on to say, do what your spirit leads and everything. Y'all didn't realize the conversations that was going to open up. The debates, honey, I was getting tagged in all kind of stuff. Listen, do whatever your spirit leads you to do. Okay, I was speaking about historically, traditionally. I come from a hoodoo background, okay? I'm not new to this. I grew up in this, okay? I already told y'all where my people from, huh? Okay, but I was just speaking historically. I'm not saying what everybody got to do. I was just speaking historically, okay? Historically. But y'all, folks, folks felt the way. They felt the way. I didn't mean to ruffle no hoodoo feathers, okay? Do you have to get initiated into hoodoo? No, hoodoo is not. Now, let me say this. If you don't come from a Gullah family, now, if you grow up in a Gullah family, and this is something, as I said, I talked about this in the previous video, I was confused about as well. Because if you grow up in a Gullah family, you go through rites of passages, right? So, especially if you live down south, right? Your family may take you to the river. At a certain age, you may go to the river and get a cleansing. And when you get your first menstrual cycle, there are certain things that are done. You have, some people call them now like a period party, right? But you kind of have like a welcome into womanhood. I remember when I got my menstrual cycle, and y'all, it was very overwhelming and a beautiful experience, because the women in my family, the friends, everybody, it was like an exciting thing for a woman to get her menstrual, right? So these are certain things that if you come from a very traditional family, I thought it was initiation, right? But it may just be, if you come from a Gullah family, it feels like you're getting initiated. You have rites of passages, you have certain ceremonies, but hoodoo as a whole for everyone is practiced differently. It's not necessarily a traditional initiation. I do advise though that if you practice hoodoo and you have children, y'all create those experiences for your children. It makes a difference. I noticed as I got older, because like I said, I didn't realize that this was out of the norm. When you grow up with something, you think it's the norm. I didn't realize when I got older that some women have very traumatic period stories and menstrual stories. Their menstrual blood isn't viewed as a beautiful thing and as a magical thing. Like, I didn't realize that wasn't the norm, so please, if you practice hoodoo and you have children, if you have nieces and nephews and whoever, please create rites of passage ceremonies for them, create period parties for them, and celebrate their menstrual cycle and teach them about the magic of their menstrual blood. Like, do that for them, normalize that for them, because I can tell you from personal experience, it's a beautiful thing to experience. It really shifts your entire life and your perception of your menstrual. I thank God I had heavy menstruals and stuff like that. when I was younger, I had cramps and things like that, but I never viewed it as a negative thing. I viewed it as healing and cleansing because of what I was taught. Okay, so I think that's very important. No, there's not a initiation for hoodoo, but if you come from a traditional hoodoo family, there are ceremonies and initiations. So there's not an overall initiation, but create that for your family. Get back to the root. Okay, that's why I was starting to teach the history of hoodoo, and all. But like I said, it was touchy. But do what's best for you. But do create something for your family, some type of tradition, some type of rites of passage for your own people. Next question is you said, in a new spiritual journey, how do you explain hoodoo to family and friends? Child, explain hoodoo to family and friends. What you explaining? Because that's another thing. Like, hoodoo is something that should be practiced kind of privately. Okay, hoodoo is not something that you like wear on your sleeve. I'll tell you, for me, like, we had, again, I didn't know that this stuff was out of the norm. When you young, you don't go around talking about church every day. You know what I'm saying? If you grew up Christian, you don't go around talking about church every day. You don't go around, I don't know, maybe you did, but I didn't grow up around people who walk around, the kids talking about church and stuff every day all the time. Everything was practiced privately. The altar was private. Everything was private, so it's not something that you're talking about or explaining to other people. Now we did have instances, or I had an instance where I had a friend come to my house and they saw the ancestor altar. And again, I thought it was normal. So she asked what it was. And I just simply was like, oh, I didn't even call it an ancestor altar. I literally explained what it was. I said, it's a special place where, we have for my grandmothers and people who passed away. And we had coins and flowers and candles and all kind of things. And of course they thought we was crazy. My friend thought we was crazy. My friend was like, so people gonna think what they think. It's nothing that you could tell people that's gonna make them comfortable. They have to decide to get comfortable. And guess what? Now that same friend is a hoodoo practitioner. Okay, so that's my point. Like, practice privately, do your thing, keep your stuff sacred, keep your magic sacred to you. But if they ask, explain, make it plain, explain exactly what you're doing, explain exactly what it is. You don't have to put it in no special spoon-fed way. Answer all the questions that they have. Answer every single question. If they want to know, is that a sin? No. Is it demonic? No. Are you going against God? No. Isn't it idol worship? No, it's not idol worship, because we're not worshiping the ancestors. We honoring them. This is what we do. This is why we do it. This is how I use the flowers. This is why I have the candle. This is why I smudge. This is why. Explain every single thing, and I do that to this day. When people come to my home, I asked them, okay, do you want something? I always offer people tea. I'm a herb lady. I always offer people tea. And I asked them what kind of tea would they like if they don't have a specific kind. I literally will show them every herb I'm going to put in their tea and tell them what the purpose is and offer them the opportunity to research it. I keep a small herb book on hand that hey, if you want to, if you feel more comfortable, you can look them up, because I don't ever want nobody to think I'm giving them nothing that's not for their wellness. Explain everything. Explain everything you put in the pot. Explain everything you burning. Explain everything. Just make it plain. And that's how people get comfortable. You just got to make it plain, answer every question, and that's how they get comfortable. But don't you ain't got to sugarcoat nothing you doing. When will you begin taking new clients? Taking new clients, I can't say an exact date of when I'll be taking new clients. I did get a little extra time, but as soon as I got a little extra time, I reached out to 2 old clients to see if they wanted a session, and they literally took every session. So I don't know. It'll be based on cancellations and if I get any other free time. But when I do get extra time, I always put it in the wellness community first. The wellness community is my spiritual community. I always put it in the wellness community first. Patreon.com/TheQueenPo. Okay, I don't know if they're going to ban me if I say another website, but that's where it is. If you know, you know. In the wellness community, I'll put my book and stuff there first, and then I'll put it publicly if there are some leftover slots, but there usually aren't. Book recommendations for hoodoo. I don't necessarily have book recommendations specifically for hoodoo because I don't trust books on hoodoo. And I will tell you why. A lot of books on hoodoo. You need to research those authors, because those authors are not us. Those authors ain't, making it plain, them authors ain't black folk. Okay? Them authors ain't black folk. Them authors is not telling y'all the truth in a lot of them books. Okay? I could name some of them, but I'm not in the mood to out nobody. You got to do the research. I don't trust a lot of hoodoo books. 99.9% of hoodoo books are written by non-black hoodoo practitioners who did not grow up in hoodoo. Okay, so I don't trust them. Now, books I can recommend on spirituality, Jambalaya by Yeye Louisa Tish. I love Yeye. She's always on live on the other app. She's always on live. I love Yeye Tish. She's super dope. Jambalaya is her book. She's always, having classes and meetings. She's an excellent elder. So please follow her. Keep up with her. You can book consultations with her too. She charges a coin. They about $200, $250 for a consultation, but she does readings as well. And she's amazing. Like I said, dope elder. She's priestess. Ooh, how am I forgetting Yeye Head? A priest of Oshun. A priest of Oshun. She's a priestess of Oshun. She's super, super dope. But yeah, Jambalaya by Yeye Tish. The Handbook of Yoruba Traditional Handbook of Yoruba Religion. That's another good one. It's written by actual Babalawo. That's a dope one. And then of course y'all know I'm gonna say The Alchemist by Paulo's books on spirituality. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. The 5 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Those are just some of my favorite books. I have videos with like my top 20 book recommendations. Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. I'm initiated Ifa, but I don't subscribe to any particular religion. I'm a spiritualist. Religion is religion is religion is religion is religion. Okay? Religion is religion is religion. And I'm telling you, as someone who has years in this, religion is religion is religion is religion. I don't care where it come from. Okay, religion is religion is religion is religion. So I'm a spiritualist. So my book recommendations are going to be to study everything. So I'm going to tell you The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, to study the ego, to study the mind. I'm going to tell you The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, to study alchemy and a variety, just spirituality as a whole. I'm going to tell you Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements, right? Because it's going to talk about, again, dealing with that ego, perception, how to show up, how to manifest. Sacred Woman by Queen Afua, which we know Queen Afua is into a lot of essentially it goes back to Kemetic science, right? That's really, when you do the deep research, it goes back to Kemetic science. I'm also going to tell you Yeye Louisa Tish, who is, I believe Yeye is initiated into Lukumi, but she practices, the book, it says hoodoo, but Yeye is from Louisiana, so it's really based in like Louisiana voodoo, which is a little bit different from hoodoo, and you can tell that as you read the book if you are aware of Louisiana voodoo. But yeah, so study a variety of things. Those are just a few recommendations. Sorry if you covered this, but hoodoo books by black folks only. Like I said, I just gave a couple. I hope you may have just put that question after I said that. Yes, you are catching me on live. You helped me with my shadow work, so thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate that. I'm scrolling back up. You said you just threw away a book because you found out it was written by a white author. Y'all, in the Wellness Community group chat, I got a group chat in the Wellness Community. If you know, you know. Shout out to anybody who's in here who is in the Wellness Community. But we had this whole discussion. Okay, because somebody had put up a book recommendation and was screenshotting spell workings out of a book. That ain't for us. That book is not for us. Okay, and they labeled it as hoodoo, but as someone who studies spirituality, every spell in that book is Wicca. That's not hoodoo workings. That's Wicca workings that they called hoodoo because hoodoo was popular when that book came out. Okay, when the skeleton key came out, I had stitched a video about this. When the skeleton key came out, a lot of non-black people got very interested in hoodoo and started writing books on it and changing the information. But the issue is that they was conflating Wicca with hoodoo and marrying the spell work and marrying the information. So now a lot of the popular books come from that time period. Okay, you'll notice a lot of hoodoo books come from the early 2000s, that time period. And a lot of those workings are Wicca workings that have nothing to do with hoodoo. They was mixing and mingling and adding, okay? So that's why you really got to research your authors, and you really have to be careful of, your sources. Hoodoo is best learned through elders, through elder hoodoo practitioners, okay? People who, I don't even want to say people who grew up in it, right? Because, or like you can only learn from people who grew up in it, because that's not fair. Everybody, don't know somebody who grew up in hoodoo. But it's at least important to learn from elder hoodoo practitioners firsthand, right? So study elders. I'm going to give y'all a couple people to study. Okay, I'm about to give y'all a couple people to study now. Study Dr. Buzzard. Study Dr. Buzzard. If you subscribe to me on the tube, I got videos on this. Study Dr. Buzzard. Study Gullah Jack. Study Gullah Jack. Okay? Hoodoo comes from the Gullah Geechee people, the Gullah people. Study Gullah Jack. Study Dr. Buzzard. Those are people that you want to study and understand the lineage, right? Understand the power of hoodoo and what it was. Find you some good elders, some good elder hoodoo practitioners, and sit with them and listen to them and talk to them, about hoodoo and things like that. And see what they got going on. The wellness community is patreon.com/the Queen Poe. Patreon.com/the Queen Poe. That's the wellness community. You said you just opened up and subscribed to my YouTube. Thank you. I appreciate it, y'all. I got over 300 videos on YouTube about spirituality. That's where I be. Okay, I'm a YouTube girly. I just be, I just engage in the socials to be engaging. Okay, I'm looking to see if I missed any questions. Tips for clearing stuck emotions. It depends on what the emotion is, but tips for clearing stuck emotions, that's solar plexus work. That's solar plexus work. Our solar plexus is where we carry our emotions, right? So that's that area it's located in the pancreas area. It's right below the heart chakra, above the sacral chakra, your solar plexus, right? That upper belly area is where you hold emotion. That's Oshun resting area. Okay, that's Oshun resting area. So when it comes to clearing stuck emotions, you need to focus your energy there. Do a lot of solar plexus chakra work. You want to start eating a lot of yellow foods, right? Eating a lot of honey. Surround yourself with the color yellow, okay? Color therapy is highly, highly effective. That's why I keep LED lights in my bedroom specifically. Color therapy is highly effective. When it comes to clearing out that solar plexus chakra, a good thing to do is take you a spiritual bath, and in that spiritual bath, have some calendula. You want to make sure that when you're drinking your herbal teas, you want herbs like Dong Quai is a great herb. Dong Quai is also good for the sacral chakra energy. Dong Quai is also good for yoni steams, okay? So any sisters on here who's into yoni steaming, Dong Quai is good for that sacral chakra. It's good for the pum pum. Hello? For the pum pum, if you struggle with heavy menstrual cycles and things like that, but it's good for that divine feminine solar plexus chakra area. So Dong Quai is very good. Drink you teas with a lot of ginger, peppermint, cinnamon, Dong Quai. Focus your energy in Dong Quai. That's a good herb for you to invest in, okay? And again, if you do yoni steams or anything like that, it's also good. Dong Quai is DONG space QUAI, I believe. QUAI, Dong Quai. I think that's how you spell. I'm doing it off the top of my head, y'all. I think that's how it goes. But yes, Dong Quai is very good for that area as well. But again, also I have a video on this as well on the tube about chakras, how to check in with your chakras, how to know if your chakras are balanced or not, and things you can do to unblock or balance your chakras, each chakra. That's again on the youtube.com/the Queen Pole. Okay. I don't know what's so like. Y'all know TikTok be sensitive, honey. That's why I don't be on here. Because, TikTok be, they get you for anything on here, child. They be muting my sounds. I'm scrolling through to see if I missed any questions. I think I answered all of them so far. Hey, y'all, I'm seeing all the highs. Y'all. Okay, I think I got everybody. How do you spell that? Oh, I spelled out the Don Quiet. Advice on starting your spiritual journey. Just start. What do you want to work on? What do you want to improve? What aspects of yourself do you want to be better? When you start your spiritual journey, start within. You got to go within. Okay, so, and this is even like within EFI. So this is, again, y'all know my passion is studying religion, studying spirituality. Every religion is going to tell you the same thing. Most religions. I mean, I say every, okay, because we know the good old Christianity is a little different. But most religions will tell you the same thing. Most spiritual practices will tell you the same thing. You got to start within. So in Ifa, we say Ori. You start with your Ori. You start with your highest self, your inner self, right? So you study your Ori. You start with your crown and work your way down, okay? Start with your Ori. So you go within, you study within, and that's where you start, okay? Start with your Ori, start with yourself. And it's really just about like tapping in, being honest with yourself, introspective with yourself, shadow work. I have a video on the tube about shadow work that details like where to start, how to start, writing prompts and all that stuff. Okay. So, start within when you are doing your spiritual journey, start within. And then also you can practice ancestor veneration. You don't need to be initiated into anything to practice ancestor veneration. You don't need to be initiated into anything to do that. So, ancestor veneration, start your ancestor altar if you feel led to commune and meditate and connect with your ancestors. Spend a lot of time out in nature, okay? And people, it's so crazy because the stereotypes with being spiritual, y'all know, is like being a nature person, a tree hugger and all of that. But that's a beautiful thing because what it is you're building spiritual connection with life, with energy, and you start appreciating life in various forms. So spend a lot of time out by the water, by the river, by the lakes, the ocean, places like that. And just like, commune. So go within, shadow work, study yourself, connect with your Ori, your higher self, your inner divine self. That's step one. Commune with your ancestors, build your ancestor altar, go out in nature, commune with other forms of life and give gratitude. And that's where you go. Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you for the rose. I don't even know what that means on here, but I appreciate I always receive some flowers. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I'm going back, see if I missed any questions. You said it's hard for me to accept spiritual information from you. Oh, from when I see YT, I be thinking YouTube from white people. Am I wrong for that? Nita, this is my thing, right? Okay, let me tell y'all a story. This is my thing. I am very comfortable communing. I can commune with anybody. That's what I do. When I was in Bali, I spent a month and a half in Bali. I was the only black person. I'm comfortable with communing, but I'm comfortable with communing in mutual respect. I've been to Wicca ceremonies. I'm not trying to practice Wicca. But we can come together. We can do some moon work together. Okay, we at the moon. We talking and we communing and we giving thanks for the moon. We can do that together. Okay? But you got your thing. You got your power. You got your magic. And I got mine. And we have a mutual respect. That's how I carry it. So a lot of people get, a lot of them get, defensive when we talk about like gatekeeping and we talk about things like that. But what I constantly have to explain is I'm not saying that you can't be magical. I'm not saying that I don't want to be around you. I'm saying instead of trying to take from each other, Let's just commune together. I got my plate. You got your plate. I ain't got to pick it and eat off your plate. Enjoy your food, babes. I'm going to enjoy mine, but we can sit at this table and have a good old merry time and talk and laugh together and have fun. That's how I view spirituality. I got my plate. You got your plate. That's it. That's it. If only they would just be okay with what's on their plate. If only they could just be happy with what's on their plate. Every time you reach your hand to grab something on our plate, I'm like, damn, you got your own food. I see how men be feeling when women got their own plate and they just be wanting to grab out of theirs. I see why men be complaining, because get out my plate. Get your hand out my pocket, nigga. Nah, let me not. TikTok really gonna ban me. Let me stop. Okay, let me see. Any other questions? Let me go down. What question should I ask to see if there's a good match between me and a potential mentor? Ooh, picking a mentor. I'm going to tell y'all just a couple questions when it comes to picking a good mentor. And this is going to go for picking a good mentor, picking a good Elay. If you were interested in ATR and getting initiated and you need to find a spiritual house, an Elay, a godparent, whoever. When picking a mentor, it's important to understand what you're looking to receive. It's important to understand how you like to receive information. I talked a little bit about this with that Coach Stormy video, right? When I talked about you got to know your kinks when you on your healing journey. Because you have some mentors who speak more harshly, who are more aggressive, and then you have some who are like, you know, they give you little bird seeds of information and send you on a seeker's journey. Are you a seeker? If you are a seeker, if you are a person who likes to read and watch documentaries and find a lot of information for yourself, you need a mentor who's going to give you little seeds, who's going to say, consider this. They're not going to always tell you what to do. They're not going to tell you how to move. They're going to say, consider this. Let me just sprinkle this little seed and go research that. Go look that up. They give you little seeds. That's the best mentor. Because a good mentor like that is going to be a mentor for life, because number one, you're not draining them. And number two, they're not trying to control you. So you're not draining them and they're not trying to control you. The thing about having the opposite mentor, which a lot of people be wanting, but I be trying to tell folks is not healthy. Some people don't want a mentor. They want somebody that's going to live their life for them. They want somebody that can pick up the phone and say, hey, I don't know what to do. What should I do? Hey, tell me what to do about that. That's not healthy, because then when they start trying to big sis your ass, then what? When they start trying to control you, then what? When they start telling you how to live your life and telling you what to do every step of the way, and they get mad at you when you don't follow their advice, then what? Okay, so you got to really ask yourself, what are you looking for in a mentor? And sometimes you may need to mind your own energy. You may need to mind your own desires. Okay, so that's very important. Know what you are looking for in the mentor, and then see how your mentor mentors. That's one. Number two, see their other mentees. When you are looking, especially, this is ATR talk, especially if you are looking at an ATR, you are looking for an Elay, you looking for a godparent, you need to look at their other godchildren. If you got a mentor who don't have no successful mentees, if they ain't done no heal, I don't care what they certify. Y'all, I'm a certified doula. I'm a certified Reiki practitioner. I got a certification in a lot of things. I ain't about to run through the list. But I don't have to flex my certifications, because I got people who flex for me. I got people who will comment and tell you the work I've done for them, the healing I've done for them, how I helped them on their spiritual journey. You need a mentor who got mentees that's going to speak for them. You need a mentor, a God. If you're looking for godparents in ATR and EFI, Lukumi, and whatever, you need to find godparents who got godchildren that, but under them, they godchildren are doing well and successful. When you go to an Elay and they ain't got no godchildren that they got a good relationship with, that's a problem. When you go to an Elay and they don't have no godchildren that's been under them for a couple years, that's a problem. When they ain't got no godchildren that speak highly of them, that's a problem. That's stuff you need to pay attention to. So look at their other mentees. Look at their other godchildren. And are they prospering? Are they thriving? Are they doing well in life? Don't, aside from what they say about the godparent or the mentor, because some people just have group think and they just loyal just to be loyal. Okay, we see people like that all the time with celebrities and stuff. You just stand just to stand. But look at their life. How they business going, how they career going, how their relationships going, how they family life looking. Are they abundant? Are they thriving? What did that mentor lead them to? What did that mentor guide them to? If all they mentees is down bad, what path y'all on? Y'all on the path to destruction? Okay, so that's stuff that you got to pay attention to. And the last tidbit, I'm going to give you the third thing. Y'all, I'm never good with a 3. This pinky just don't go down when I want it to. Okay, the third thing. I need to do a 3 like this. The third thing. I don't want nobody to think I'm throwing up a set. The third thing. When you are looking for a mentor, a godparent or something, you have to ask, how far are they willing to take you? Especially when dealing with ATRs. Ask them, how high will they initiate a woman? Because something a lot of people don't talk about is that at ATRs, some old school Babas and some old school EIs will only initiate some ATRs. EIs can't even initiate nobody like that. Okay, they can initiate you to a certain level to step 1 to be an Abarisha, but they can't take you through your Awo and put you in and take you to your journey into becoming a priestess. So if you feel the calling to become a priestess, some old school traditional practitioners, EI can't even take you that far, and a Baba won't take you that far. So those are questions you need to ask. How high will you initiate a woman? Okay, if you are a woman. Now, for my LGBTQ folks, you need to specifically ask them. You don't even have to ask them, because let me tell you, they done got slick now. They done got slick of how to answer. Oh, well, how do you feel about LGBT? They want your coin. They want that initiation coin, okay? So they're going to tell you what you want to hear. What you need to ask them is, how do you feel about initiating trans women? Go all the way. Don't ask them nothing about LGBT as a whole, because they're going to give you the politically correct answer. I'm telling you. Ask them specifically, how do you feel about initiating trans women? And what is the highest that you will initiate them as? And watch how they... Yeah. A lot of I ain't even gonna go there, but don't you go into no Elay and then find out that your Baba or your EI is really homophobic. Don't wait. You need to hit them with that question off top. Okay? I got a video where in the comments somebody was like, talking about they Baba and they EI, and I said, okay, how do they feel about initiating trans people? They never responded. You ain't think about that one, huh? Y'all ain't even talked about that. Y'all haven't even acknowledged the trans community, huh? Is that an Elay that you want to be a part of? So those are questions that you would need to ask, right? So again, it depends on what you care about. It depends on what you're passionate about. It depends on what you're willing to be aligned with, okay? In the wellness community, we welcome all. We welcome all. So when I'm speaking to some of my younger folks, okay, who are a part of the LGBT community, I'm not going to tell you to go to any old godparent. Your first question, especially within the ATR, needs to be, how do you feel about initiating a trans woman? That question right there will tell you all you need to know about that godparent that you're looking at. It will tell you everything you need to know. So those are just 3 questions you can ask. Okay, I'm going to move on. You just subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let me go. Oh, y'all, the comments. I done missed a lot of comments. Okay. Let me see. Okay, no, I'm caught up. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Ayi Bobo. Y'all, okay, let me see what you must be a mambo or something, or you into voodoo, practice voodoo. Ayi Bobo is a traditional voodoo greeting or greeting within voodoo. Ayi Bobo, for anybody who is not aware. When we hear Ayi Bobo, You'll hear that a lot. I didn't mean to. My ancestors had different beliefs/practices. How do I show up for them without disrespecting them? What was their practice and what was their belief? I don't believe in forcing anything on our ancestors that they may not have necessarily been, welcoming to or okay with, right? So if you have ancestors who weren't okay with certain things, you honor them in the way that they will receive homage. So sometimes for your ancestor, all you need to put out is a glass of water. Or if they was a coffee lover, you put out a cup of coffee. If they, what did they like? What did they enjoy? And that's what you'll put out in honor of them as offering. And then you commune with them that way. But you don't force anything on them, right? So like, for example, I had an aunt that passed that was Jehovah's Witness. I'm not going to be out here laying brick dust in honor of my auntie. She wasn't like that. But my auntie was, she was Jehovah's Witness, but she also was a herb lady. So I put out herbs in her honor. She was a witness, but she had them herbs. I got videos of her brewing her some pots, okay? Some brewhickeys, huh? So yeah, I'll put out some herbs in her honor. So that's what you do. You put out what they enjoyed in honor of them, and then you commune with them through that. Okay, hey y'all, hey. Okay, let me see. Or they'll initiate you just to try and sleep with you. Ooh, child, that's tea. That's tea. Okay, that's tea. I keep telling you, religion, I told y'all at the beginning of the live, religion is religion. That's why I even though I went through initiation, I went through my awo, all of that, I am a priestess of Shango, but I don't subscribe. And to answer this question, are you a godparent yet? I'm a mentor. I'm a godmother to many, but I am not initiating anyone into Ifa. And it's not that I love Ifa. Ifa is always going to be a part of my spiritual practices and beliefs. And it's a beautiful, beautiful religion, and I love it so much. But again, religion is religion. Okay. And this is why I did a video on my channel on church hurt, because I find a lot of people run to ATRs because you running from the church. And in that video, okay, I did that video a while ago now, but it's up there. In that video, I talked about how before you join any ATR, before you even start investigating ATRs, you need to heal from that church hurt, because you don't want to attract some of that same energy that you ran from in that church, because it's still on you. If you didn't heal from that hurt, it's still on you. That energy is still being carried with you everywhere you go. And you will continue to attract that in any religion you run to. And all religions got it. So when that person said, or they'll initiate you and try to sleep with you, they saying that because that's a common thing. Huh? I ain't calling out no babas, but hello. They will try you up. You got to remember, in a lot of ATRs, it's okay to have multiple wives. So don't be surprised when you got a married baba and he trying to get you to come through talking about it's a ceremony. But that ceremony is he trying to lay it down. Okay, you got to be careful. So I don't want you to run from the church and run to an ATR and run right into the wrong Ile. You run into an unhealthy Ile. Okay, I don't want that to happen, because trust me when I tell you, I know a lot of folks who are looking for new Ilays. A lot of folks who've been out of the tradition for years because they can't find same way people be like, I can't find a church home. They can't find an Ilay that they love. They can't find an Ilay that they feel comfortable with, because they've been so damaged, because they either have been sexually abused, they've been financially abused, or something by their previous Ilay. Okay, I got a sister that's been in tradition for over 20 something years, and she's still searching for a new Ile, because she went through such severe financial abuse because she was young and didn't know no better. And every time she was at a ceremony, they asking for an offering and they drained her. They made her feel guilty. They overcharged her for initiation. They overcharged her for everything. She was basically paying a fee anytime she attended a misa, anytime she attended a gathering, she was paying a large fee. You ain't supposed to really be charging your godchildren to come to a gathering and pray. But she didn't know that. You know? So this is stuff that you got to run to. When people be talking about them churches handing out the offering plate, you'll go to some B-sides and they passing around the offering plate 3-4 times too. Huh? Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Religion is religion is religion is religion. Trust me when I tell you. Okay? You gonna see some stuff in ATRs too, the same way you see some stuff in church. Ain't no religion immune to having politics and foolishness, okay? Ain't no religion immune. That's why I also said if you a woman and you looking for an Elay, you need to ask them how high they will initiate you, because you got to study your ATRs. Study the various ATRs, because some ATRs will not initiate women beyond a certain point. And some ATRs, they won't even give you, yeah, I ain't even gonna get into it, child, but there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of gender roles. There's a lot of things like that. Okay. So you have to be, there's a lot of like subtle laws and rules, and especially things with people, whether you blood born into the practice or you are initiated into the practice, reborn. So bloodborn versus reborn. Okay. There's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. And a lot of people don't learn until they get into it, which that's okay, because everybody has their journey. But I'm warning you now to study. To study. It's a beautiful journey. It has a lot of beautiful things, okay? But study. How does one become initiated? You find godparents. You know, they will mentor you. They will usually getting initiated is not a fast process. It shouldn't be a fast process. You will find godparents. They will mentor you, and kind of like coach you, I should say, for about, I'm not even gonna put a timeline on it. It could be months, it could be a year, it could be longer. I got another sister right now who she is you know, being courted by a godparent, and she's been being courted for almost 2 years now. Okay, so you know it could be a time, but they will court you and then start you in the process and all that stuff. So it just depends. Also, it depends if you go back to the continent. My first initiation was on the continent, was while I was in Ghana. So you could go back, you could go to Ghana, or you could go to Nigeria and be initiated, and the process will be different for you. So, you know, you may be receiving coaching or mentorship from someone who is here, and then they will send you back to the continent to actually have you go through ceremony, because that dealing with the politics in certain circles, okay, you get more if you are initiated on the continent, and you get more. It's a lot, y'all. Like, but you basically, like, you know, everybody. I don't believe this. I don't subscribe to this, but it's a thing in ATRs where you are initiated, how you are initiated, who you are initiated to. If your godparent is African American or actually from the continent, is bloodborne, you get certain things. Okay, so that's the thing. But I don't subscribe to that. I believe everybody has their own internal ashe, their own internal power. That's what I believe. I believe that whether you are bloodborne or not, right, it does not matter. It does not determine your ashe. That's what I believe. Because there's a lot of people who are bloodborne who can't tell you no, oh, dude don't know nothing. Okay, they don't know nothing. They just was born into it. All right, the shade is not there. Okay, so I don't subscribe to that, but I'm just telling you, giving you a heads up of, you know, moving forward, understanding that if you can go to the continent and get initiated, and you plan on prospering in your ATR, you will progress further politically in the ATR movement if you are initiated on the continent. And that's just real. That's just real. Because that question is going to come up. That's just real. Okay, if you're trying to progress in your ATR, politically, you will do better if you are initiated on the continent by someone who's bloodborne as well. Okay, you said agreed. Yeah, like that's I done I done seen situations, y'all. I was at a thing. Okay, I'll tell y'all this little story, this little example. Y'all know I'm good for an example. Okay, I was it was only a dinner, y'all. It wasn't even like a thing, but it was a dinner, but the dinner was like all about ATRs and stuff like that, but it wasn't like a ceremony or anything. Y'all, you know, at a dinner sometimes we'll do like libations, right? Pour libations. Libations is, you know. So the thing about it, y'all, it's elders that's been in traditions. Everybody, all of them have been in this tradition for 20, 30, 40 years, right? Y'all, the person hosting the dinner, they hosting the dinner. He's been in tradition for years. Then you had elders who are blood-born from the continent. So, of course, they blood-born, so they counting all their years. And they walked out when he was saying his prayer and about to pour libation. They walked out because they felt like he should have turned over the libation to them. It's disrespectful in tradition because they are blood-born and have been in it longer. And even though it was his house and his ceremony, he should have turned it over to them. So they walked out in the middle of the libation, y'all. That's politics. That's politics. You in this man's house, and you think because you blood-born, your ashe is stronger. So you are higher than him politically. So in his house, at his table, at his dinner, he supposed to turn over his libation and his prayer to you, and you think it's disrespectful. So you get up and you walk out the dinner. Wow, elder. Okay. And they left, and they godchildren left with them. Okay. You know, so that's things that you would be like, wow, this is a political thing. Like, you know, that type of stuff matters. That type of stuff matters, you know. And like I said, I don't personally subscribe to that or believe that, but I'm just telling you that stuff it matters, y'all. It matters. Between the lines, I understand what you're trying to say. You know, you understand what I'm saying without saying it. Those elders are wrong, dead wrong. Them elders was dead wrong. Yup, it's ego. It's ego, but you can't tell them that. You can't tell them that. Y'all, I was on this app, and it's a sister who, she was, you know, talking about voodoo. And somebody in her comments was like, you probably never even been to Africa. Who are you to talk about voodoo? I bet you was initiated in Haiti. And first off, they wrong. The sister was initiated in Benin. I know her personally. But why does that even matter? Like, if she went through her proper processes and she was initiated and the information she shared is correct, why is that a problem? But that's what I'm talking about, y'all. Like, that be a problem sometimes. Like, it be a problem. Okay? There's sometimes you will be, you know, that matters. And sometimes it's about, oh, you not blood-born. Sometimes it's about, well, you wasn't initiated in Benin, or you wasn't initiated in Haiti. You know, like, that stuff it be becoming a thing, y'all. It becomes a thing. You said as a Tata and Paulo. Okay, as a Tata and Paulo Mayombe, she is correct about the ashe. Yes. It's a thing. That's how it is in Paulo. Yep, they treat Black Americans differently. Also, I'm glad you speaking on it. See, I don't know much about Paulo, so you know I have I have a very famous close friend that's in Paulo, okay, and she's gotten a lot of flack because she tried to be open about being in Paulo and talk about being in Paulo, and she showed some things that, granted, she probably shouldn't have showed, but you know, a lot of people was like, yeah, you Paulo, but you ain't, you know, like, she's African American, and it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing about this. Like, it's very political. How do you know your Ori? Your Ori is your higher self. Your Ori, do you want to know, like, how do you know your crown or who has your head? Is that the question? Because your Ori is your higher self. So to tap to your Ori, you are just tapping into your higher self. You're getting to know who you are internally. So you're asking yourself questions like, literally, who am I? What do I like versus what do I not like? how do I speak? How do I show up? How do I manifest? How do I think? So you have to unpack your mind, unpack your physical, unpack your spirit. And that's how you tap into and get a deeper connection with your Ori, with your higher self, following your intuition, unblocking your chakras, right? So connecting with your chakras, unblocking your chakras. All of that is about, building a deeper connection with your Ori, spending a lot of time in silence and meditation and all of that. How do you know who has your head? Okay. How do you know who has your head? So you have to get a reading, essentially, right? Divination. But here's the thing. So this is a question I get a lot. Okay, I also have a video about this on the tube. Okay, but I'll answer it overall here. This is the question I get a lot about. How do you know who has your head? How do you know who is your head, Orisha? I'm going to tell you a few things. Number one, in order to know who has your head, you have to get divination. So you will need to go to the mat, right? So you'll need to go to a Baba or go whatever you are interested in. You go to a priest or a priestess who does readings, get divination. But the thing about the divination, depending on where you are in your journey, so let me explain, before I even say that, let me explain a couple things. Depending on what ATR you are in determines when you are able to get a reading for your head. In some ATRs, you cannot get crowned with an Orisha. You will not get crowned. So it's the difference between knowing who has your head or who's your head Orisha and getting crowned. In some ATRs, you will not get crowned until after your Awoye and after you become a priestess, right? So after you get to a certain level, you will get crowned with a head Orisha, right? So that's a little different. Now, anybody can go get a divination reading and see who is carrying you. So who has your head Orisha, as it's popularly known to most people, is essentially whoever is carrying you at that time. Now, some people may have experienced, you go get a divination, and if you are new in your spiritual journey, I'm putting you on right now so you don't waste your money. Listen up. I'm putting you on right now so you don't waste your money. If you are new on your spiritual journey, I'm telling you now, when you go get a reading for who has your head, it's going to be Obatala or Yemeya. The mother or the father. They're carrying you right now. Throughout different journeys of your spiritual journey, throughout different parts of your life, the Orisha that is over that energy that you are in is the Orisha that is carrying you. So if you are in an energy of transformation and change, if you're going through a lot, right? You're finding a lot of shifts, a lot of change happening in your life. Like right now, it's Oya time. I can guarantee you, most people who go get a reading right now, divination right now, Oya gonna show up because this is her time, baby. This is Scorpio. We having a solar eclipse. It's a shift. It's a change. This is Oya energy. Oya gonna pop up in a lot of readings right now, and a lot of people gonna get mistook, thinking that Oya is their crown, but she's not. She's just carrying you right now. So it's a lot of people, and it's okay to embrace that. I think it's a beautiful thing when people are new on their spiritual journey and they go get a reading and they come back like, Queen, I got Obatala, Queen, I got Yemeya, and inside I'm like, I know, baby, I know, but it's because you knew. So the mother and father have birthed you into your journey. They carrying you, they welcoming you, and then they're gonna start introducing you to their children. Okay? And I can almost tell you who gonna come next. What's gonna come next after that white, after you draped in that white, what's gonna come next? You gonna start seeing that black and red, babes. That Papa Legba gonna pop up next. So go ahead, wait a year or two. Your next reading, Papa Legba gonna come up, the guardian of them gateways, because you can't get to nobody else before you go to Legba. Okay, so Papa Legba gonna come, the guardian of the gateways, the messenger. Okay, so then you're gonna start that all of a sudden that's gonna be your head, and you're gonna be more attracted to Papa Legba. But a lot of people are scared of Legba because Legba is a trickster. Legba is also the guardian of the gateways, the master, the foreseer between life and death. Right, so a lot of people are afraid of Legba. But Legba is going to come up. If you are in love and you are in a relationship and you are feeling very passionate, yes, Oshun. A lot of women are attracted to Oshun. Yes, you are attracted to Oshun. You are a divine feminine being. Of course you are attracted to Oshun. Of course you are attracted to her beauty. Of course you are attracted to her light. When you get comfortable in your spiritual journey and you start getting into herbs and you start taking good care of yourself and you start yoni steaming and taking spiritual baths, Oshun is all over you. When you start getting that spiritual glow, when you get good on your spiritual journey, you know, when you get comfortable doing your shadow work, you start getting that glow. Oshun all over you. When you go get a reading, Oshun gonna come up because she's carrying you right now. You in that peaceful phase. So my point is, throughout different moments in your life, various Orisha, and this is even after you get crowned, various Orisha will walk with you. They will carry you through that moment of your life, okay? So if you go get divination, that Orisha could come up. But that's why I can't even go in detail about this, y'all. Initiation is the way I always compare initiation. If you've been following me for a while, you know this. I always compare initiation. Universal Lighthouse, hey, Sean. Okay, I see you. If you go get initiation, I always compare initiation to a sorority, right? Being online for a sorority or fraternity. We're not allowed to talk about like being on like the details. I'm not in the sorority or fraternity, but you know, you can't go to a Delta and say, what did you do when you was online? What did they make you do? You can't do that. And that's how it kind of is with initiation. It's sacred, right? But what I will say with regarding your crown is everything I just explained about different Orisha carrying you through different times is often why before you are crowned, you will come back to your godparents and they will see you again. You're going to sit a few times before you are crowned. So it's not just sitting with them one time. A good godparent ain't going to give you no head Orisha on your first throw, right? They not going to do that. They're going to sit with you. They're going to commune with you. They're going to see who keeps coming up for you, who's constantly there with you, because whoever has your head is the one that is constantly showing up and constantly there for you. Even when other Orisha are carrying you through that moment, they're always right there by your side. That's who has your head. So it's about who's consistent, and that's how you'll know. Okay, and I ain't even gonna get into that, but yeah, that's essentially it. So go get divination, but also understand that various Orisha maybe carry you through different times of your life. Okay, so get divination. Honor, it's okay to honor who they tell you is carrying you, because that's important to do. But also, you know, yeah, it may change. So don't get addicted. And I will also say, how can I say this too? I'm trying to think of how to say this in like a plain, like a layman's terms. I don't know if this is, that's the light. That's the light. I thought my lip gloss was, but how can I say this in layman terms to make it plain without like making it overly complicated? So when you are initiated, initiation is about consecration, right? You are consecrated to practice work with certain Orishas, but you can honor Orisha without practicing work, especially any type of divination with Orisha. So if you are not initiated, but you go get a reading, right? You go get divination to see, you know, who has your head. You can honor that Orisha. You can give thanks for that Orisha. Now, you shouldn't be going to buy lekes and all of that. Now, okay, because lekes are a sign of initiation. Okay, lekes are not just jewelry that you're supposed to buy out of the Botanica and wear it like it's just jewelry, y'all. Lekes is supposed to be consecrated and blessed and given to you through ceremony. That's what lekes are for. So you're not doing anything like that. But you can honor that Orisha, okay? You can honor that Orisha. You can give thanks to that Orisha for carrying you. But you're not trying to do divination through them. You're not, trying to do anything like that. So that's the difference. That's about the most I could say. YouTube.com/The Queen Poe. I'm looking to see if there are any questions I missed. Thank you. I appreciate my flowers. Like I said, I don't even know what that means, but I appreciate it. Why can't a related Babala will also be your godparent? Why can't a related Babalawo, so like if you have a Babalawo in your family, why can't they be your godparent? In certain traditions, they can. In certain traditions, they can. It's just advised not to. But in certain traditions, they can. So it depends on the tradition that they are in, and they may just not want to. They may not feel comfortable. Like for me, I don't do readings. I'm a medium. I don't do readings for people I know. I don't feel comfortable with that because I don't want it to shift our relationship. So I don't want to be your friend, and then you ask me to do it. I'm speaking from experience. This happened to me. I don't want to be your friend, and then I give you a reading, and then every time you see me, we don't even have a friendship no more because everything is around that reading, especially as a medium, right? So I did a reading for my friend. I connected with her mom. And after that, every question was about her mama. Like every time we hung out, she bringing up her mama. Every time she meet a nigga, she bringing a man over there for me to meet and asking me what her mama think. Like, we ain't friends no more, sis. I'm just your on-hand medium. Like, so most people don't mix friendships and family with what they do. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't. You don't mix. It blurs lines. People don't know how to separate the two. They start treating you different, looking at you different. So it's not nothing. It may not be nothing that's wrong with you, but they probably just don't feel comfortable because they don't want to show up to the family reunion and you want to talk about tradition. You know what I'm saying? They still want you to see them as Uncle Joe. You know, they don't want you to see them as Uncle Olu. Or you know what I'm saying? Like it's a, Baba Olu. Nah, I'm Uncle Joe to you. You know, like they don't want to blur that line. So yeah, that's probably just it. You say, yeah, that's happened to me. I've had to learn boundaries. Yeah, I don't do any type of consultations with friends or anything like that anymore. That ship has sailed. I'll talk to you as a friend, but I'm definitely not tapping into nothing for my friends unless I really, really, really feel urged. But I've made a strong boundary, even with my spirit guides, that we don't play that no more. We don't do that. Are bay leaves for protection, and can you take a spiritual bath with them? This is the thing with bay leaves. Bay leaf is for dispelling. Bay leaf is for vanishing. So if you watched, I did a deep dive on the new moon and stuff on my tube channel. I did a deep dive on the moon and everything where I talked about how to make moon water with this moon energy. But you want to add a bay leaf because if you collect moon water, if you choose to, this is not moon water that you're going to use, new moon water that you're going to use as any traditional new moon water. So traditionally with new moon water, you use it for manifestation, right? You use it for manifesting desires. This new moon water is going to be used for dispelling and shifting energy. So if you feel like you are stuck in life, you'll keep that new moon water that you keep in storage. You keep in the back cupboard in the dark. And when you feel like you are, stuck in life, you feel like something is blocking you, this is that moon water that you want to bring out. So you want to get you a mason jar. You want to put some purified water or whatever water that you desire that your spirit leads you to, but preferably purified water in that mason jar, and put a bay leaf in there, because that bay leaf is going to help with dispelling. That bay leaf is going to help with banishing. That bay leaf is going to help with shifting. So put a bay leaf in there. You also could put an amethyst crystal in there, and you set it out under that new moon energy so it can absorb that new moon solar eclipse shifting, changing energy, new beginnings energy. And again, this that moon water that you keep in that back cupboard and keep stored when you want to shift, when you want to change, when you want to dispel. So that's what bay leaf is for dispelling. We traditionally use bay leaf during the full moon because the full moon is about release. So when you want to release something, you'll write it on the bay leaf and then you burn the bay leaf. Okay, so you can smudge your house with bay leaf if you feel like you need to get some energy up out of there that ain't supposed to be in there. You smudge your house with bay leaf. You could burn it. You can take a spiritual bath with bay leaf. The only thing is if you are a poom poom warrior, okay, if you got a poom poom, okay, with that spiritual bath, keep some honey close to you. Okay, I'm a spiritual bath taker as well, but if you got a pom-pom, you got to be careful about that pH now. With spiritual baths, I'm very serious about I want none of my girlies to throw off your pH. So you keep some honey, because honey is the secret to keeping that pH balanced. Okay, do your research on honey and the acidity, the pH, the natural pH of the poom poom, and using honey to rebalance the pH of the poom poom. Okay, so you got to keep that honey close. Okay, if you're gonna be putting bay leaf and anything like that in your spiritual bath water, you could, but bay leaf is a pH shifter. Okay, so you got to be careful with that. All right, but keep that honey close, cause we got to keep the girl fresh and ready to be devoured. Okay, so yeah. You said try white baths. White baths are good. How do you take your white bath? What do you put in your white bath? Do you use coconut? What do you use for your white bath? Uh-oh. Y'all, I'm just pressing stuff. I don't know what I'm pressing. It's that I always use honey in my spiritual baths. Absolutely. That honey is a good, honey is associated with Oshun and love energy and all of that. But that honey is a good balancer, especially, like I said, for the poom poom carriers. Okay, that honey is good. I thought it was tonight. You thought what was tonight? The new moon? The new moon is in the solar eclipse is October 25th. But it's the shadow period. So the new moon has every moon phase has a shadow period. That's why we have the 28 days of the moon. So 3 days before, 3 days after the peak. So from the 22nd to the 28th is the shadow period for the new moon. It peaks October 25th at 6:48 a.m. Eastern time. But the shadow period started October 22nd and ends October 28th. So every phase of the moon lasts about 7 days in energy wise. Okay. And then you'll move to the peak of the next phase. So the shadow period of the next phase and then the peak, right? Every phase of the new moon can be used and has power and has intention. I have a video about that on my tube. You could type the Queen Pole moon phases and it should pop up. But I have like a video about spiritual workings you could do at every phase of the moon. But you could use any phase to make moon water and all of that. You just have to align your intention with the phase of the moon at that time. But from the day of the peak of any phase, so from the day of the peak of a waxing moon, the day of the peak of a waning moon, 3 days before, 3 days after is a shadow period, and you can do any spiritual workings with the energy of that phase during that shadow period. Okay, so you got 7 days to do any new moon work, 7 days to do any full moon work, 3 days before, 3 days after the peak day, 7 days to do any waxing moon work, 7 days to do any waning moon work, and that's the entire moon cycle. So we're always doing spiritual work in alignment with the moon. We're always doing spiritual work with the moon. We are moon warriors. Okay, we are moon workers. We always working with the moon. We always connecting with the moon. We always communing with the moon. There should never be a time that you ain't paying attention to the moon, because it always got some ashe. It always got some power to it. The question is, are you using it? Okay, so don't forget that shadow period. That shadow period is powerful. Okay, a lot of people sleep on that and only focus on the day. And that's why people, they be commenting like, oh, I missed the peak. Can I still do it? This the best time to do it. Okay, especially after that peak, that's the best time to do it. The 3 days before, I like to say, is prep. The peak is sit and be still and meditate on it. After that peak, that's really your workings, because that's when you want to start being in gratitude for everything you've done, for everything that you desire, and for everything that's showing up and manifesting. That's when your workings really start working. So them 3 days after that peak is cute, but that peak is really sit and be still. Okay, that peak is really sit and be still. Before and after is where your real moon workings happen. Okay, so yeah, that's. So the moon is not fully full tonight. Today is the 23rd. It's not fully full. It will appear to look full, but it's not fully full like that. Okay, I'm going through. Thank you. I appreciate it. You said, well, I did my work this morning. Okay, now. Hey. Okay, now. Listen, I got my stuff ready. Okay, do your workings. I usually feel the energies before, absolutely. And that's what people will start feeling it. Like normally when I post my moon videos, people will be like, yes, I've been feeling this way lately. And you should. If you've been feeling that way, you are in connection with the moon. One sister, she commented and said that she got her menstrual cycle. Absolutely. Absolutely. You should be cycling during this time. I'm going to do a whole video on that, but I'll just say real quick, when you can align your menstrual cycle with the moon, that's when you know you done hit on your spiritual journey. When you can line up your womb, your moon, your inner moon with that outer moon, you that ashe is ashe in. That power is powering, honey. Okay? That's true alignment with the universe. That's true alignment with the universe. Okay? So when the sister commented and said that she started her menstrual, you started your menstrual yesterday or today, you are in alignment, babes. You in alignment. You in alignment. If you... honey, I'll talk about that in the menstrual video, okay? But that's why I had to, when I responded to her in the comment, I said, it depends on how witchy. She was like, what should I do? How witchy you want to get? Huh? How witchy you trying to get? Okay? Because with a solar eclipse and you on your menstrual cycle, child, that's some powerful blood. Okay? I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you what to do. That's some powerful blood. Okay? And I suggest that you get you a menstrual cup and you keep some. Okay? Because when you want to manifest, that's what you want to pull out. Huh? But everybody's not ready for that. See, some people there's, certain stuff like this I don't like talking about. Right. See, certain stuff like that I don't like talking about on social media. But because it does get intense. It does get intense. And I have another video dedicated on blood magic. It does get intense, but we're not talking about doing no love spell. We're not talking about none of that. I'm not promoting none of that. I don't promote this. But I am saying that when it comes to your own workings and your own manifestation and your own magic, the most powerful tool you have lies within you. The most powerful tool you have is yourself. The most powerful tool you have comes from your ori, comes from what you manifest inside. Your internal manifest as your external. The most powerful tools you have come from you. So if you don't have some of your DNA on your altar, is it really your altar? And DNA don't have to just be blood. Okay, DNA is fingernail clippings. DNA is hair. Okay, DNA is anything. But if you need to have some of your DNA on your altar, but see, that's stuff that people not ready to talk about because they get scared. They get scared. Even though, in the church you drink the blood of Christ, but we ain't talking about that. They get scared. You eat the flesh, but they get scared when you start talking about, God forbid you embrace your own blood. God forbid you embrace your own flesh, your own fingernails, your own hair. God forbid. But you need to, on your altar, you need to have some of your DNA. Okay, on your altar. That's important. That's important to have some of your DNA on your altar. I'm just saying. Okay, so if you are a woman and you are menstruating, you need to start using menstrual cups, or you could free bleed, but you need to collect some of that. Okay, I'm just saying, because that's some of the most powerful that you can have. That's coming from your womb. Those are your future generations. That's children that lies in there. So when you are manifesting, not just for yourself, but you manifesting hell with generational wealth, talking about just money. When I say generational wealth, I'm thinking beyond money. I'm talking about generational ashe. I'm talking about generational power. That's what I'm talking about. That's generational wealth to me. I vision my children speaking something and it comes to pass. I'm picturing my children's children being able to look at somebody, and if anybody comes against them, that person falls. That's the type of shay I'm talking about. For my children's children. Okay? So when I'm doing my workings, and I'm working with my womb, I'm not just working for me. I'm working for my children's children. Anything that comes from my womb, ain't nothing from my womb waste. Everything from my womb is wellness. Everything. Everything from my womb is transmuted for good. I am an alchemist for real. I'm an alchemist for real. Ain't nothing that comes from me lead. Everything I touch turns to wealth, turns to prosperity, turns to abundance. I'm an alchemist for real, for real. Don't tell me nothing that comes from my body is waste. If you was abandoned, all you would be left to consume is that waste. That waste then becomes abundance. It then becomes your nourishment. We are alchemists. It's about perspective. I talked about this in my video today in my live on the tube. It's about perspective. You better use what you got to get what you want. Huh? The strongest tools you have. Candles are great. Paper is great. Herbs is great. But ain't nothing greater than what comes from within. I'm going to move on. Okay. What if we are seasoned and stop cycling? If you are seasoned and stop cycling, you still have just because you stop cycling don't mean you dry up. Huh? You stop cycling, but you're still getting moist. You're best collected. You're best collected. Okay, you stop cycling, but you still got some workings down there. Okay, you still got some drip. SSU in the building. Shout out to Savannah State. Yes, I went to Savannah State University, y'all. Shout out to my HBCU. But yes, you're best collected. Okay, you got some stuff in there. Okay, if you need help getting it down, you better call somebody. Tell them help bring it down. Okay, but you got to collect that. Okay, it's some work. That's womb energy. That's good womb energy. Don't let it go to waste. Okay. You said you need a class so you could take notes. I don't know. Like I said, this is my first time going live on TikTok, so I don't know if I'll be able to save this or how that works. But if I can save it, I'll definitely post it somewhere if I can. I've never seen anybody post a live. I don't think. I've never seen anybody post a live on their TikTok page, but yeah. Okay, do I offer classes? So I teach everywhere. Patreon.com/The Queen Poe. Of course, we have the wellness community there. So in the wellness community, I have courses there. But beyond just the courses and stuff like that, what's the best part about the wellness community is our group chat. We have a group chat, right? And in the group chat, that's where there's a plethora of people that, and we share information and we share resources and we share knowledge. I'm not on Facebook at all. Y'all got to be careful. There are a lot of imposters and stuff. If you see anybody using my picture or anything like that, it's not me. I'm not on Facebook. I have no other pages or nothing like that. But shout out to Universal Lighthouse in the wellness community. She's in the wellness community. And then we have people like Universal Lighthouse Universal Lighthouse is an amazing sister. She's, if you got any questions about crystals and stuff like that, you need to ask her. Ask her. She's an amazing connoisseur and a wealth of knowledge when it comes to crystals. Okay, she's like the crystal master, the crystal consultant. She does Reiki. She does a lot of amazing work. She has the Sister Circle group. She's so dope, and she's a part of the wellness community. She's in the group chat. We have Sazone. Sazone is a reader. He's a medium. He's in the wellness community. He's in the group chat, and he offers a lot of advice and resources. It's so many people that's in there, and that's just, I could go on for days just naming folks, but I don't want to because I don't want anybody to feel left out if I forget your name. Okay, but in the wellness community, like I said, the best thing is the group chat. But there are classes. There are, I do put a lot of like spiritual documents, like writings and stuff. I write out spiritual bath recipes and prayers and all that kind of stuff. So there's all that information. But the best part of it for me is the group chat, and I'm also in the group chat. Of course, I'm in there almost daily answering questions and things like that. So if you don't. Wellness community don't really be asking me questions on live because they know I'm in the chat. They know I'm in the chat. Somebody asked about ear gauges. My ear gauges brought me to you. Yes. The crazy thing is I did that video on YouTube, right? And I fully intended to do a follow-up. But I just been stretching, so naturally I'm at I went up to 20 millimeters and then left them out for a while, so now I'm back down to 18 millimeters. But I think in that video I said I'm going up to an inch, and I'm beyond a quarter inch now, so I'm at 18, about to go back up to 20 millimeters, and then 25 is a little bit, it's basically an inch, so I'll be an inch soon. But yeah, hey, from the ear gauge video, that was a long time ago. How do you know you have a gift with the spirit? I kind of answered this question a little bit earlier, but I'm pretty sure you probably missed it because that was like one of the first questions I answered. But you will know your spiritual gift based on what are your natural abilities. Think back to your childhood, right? So what have you always been gifted at doing? What have you always been... Hold on, y'all. Okay, that's not... What have you always been gifted at, right? So what have you always, since you were a child, what have you always kind of naturally been drawn to? That's how you'll know your spiritual gift, right? And the thing about spiritual gifts is everybody is not a medium. Everybody is not a reader, but everybody has connection with spirit. It has connection with ancestors. The question is about how do you receive messages, right? So some people, being a medium is a popular thing where people want to talk to other people's loved ones who have transitioned, and they want to be able to, see spirits and things like that. That's not everybody's gift. Some people want to, be diviners and stuff like that. Yes, everyone has intuition. Yes, everyone has sight. One of the clairs, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, right? Everybody has some type of clair. But the question is like, what specifically is your gift? You could be a dreamer. You may receive messages through dreams, right? That's a spiritual gift. So if you've been a person who has lucid dreamed or had very vivid, very clear dreams, if you astral project very easy since you was a kid, that's your spiritual gift. That's your spiritual gift. So you want to study dream work and how to read dreams and understand symbolism. That's another thing with like your spiritual gift, and reading dreams or spiritual signs, whether you a medium or anything, symbolism is different. So it's you could go online and Google like meaning. If you have a dream and you see an eagle fly by, you could go online and Google meaning of an eagle. But, in order to really unpack and understand and study your spiritual gift and your dreams and your clairvoyancy, your claircognizance, your clairaudience, you have to know what symbols represent and mean for you. So pay attention to how they show up in your life and what they mean to you. What an eagle represents in somebody else's dream may not be what that represents in your dream. Like people have this thing about crows. It's a negative stereotype associated with crows. That's not a negative stereotype for me. Crows is not a negative stereotype for me. That's not a negative symbol for me when I see crows. When I see crows, that's usually a sign that somebody's going to have a new opportunity. When I see crows, I'm calling up a person like, hey, you about to get a blessing. I had a dream that a crow was at your window. I had a dream that a crow was sitting on top of your roof. I was coming to visit your house and it was crows on your roof. You about to get a blessing. And it ain't never failed me. Okay, so you got to know what symbolism, how it shows up for you. That's paying attention to like omens and stuff like that. So when you see certain things, what happens? What manifests in association with that symbol? Okay, so again, knowing your spiritual gift is about like, what have you been naturally doing since you were a child? Even if you shunned it, even if you shut it down, even if you wasn't in tune to it, what have you naturally been doing since you were a kid? That's how you kind of know your spiritual gift, right? So you could be a dreamer, clairaudience, claircognizance. You could be a medium, anything, right? But again, study that. Study the signs and symbols and what they mean for you in your personal life, and that's how you'll know. Okay, let's see. I dream about all animals, and you don't like them. You don't like animals? Or you don't like being a dreamer? You said, you've been seeing them heavy by your house, 2 birds, yeah. The thing, but like I said, that's what it means for me. It may mean something different to you. Like I'm gonna tell you, I had a great aunt, right? My great aunt, this lady, she was so gifted. She was so gifted, right? She was so gifted. She used to know when people was gonna pass because they would be sitting in her chair. She had the gift of sight. They would be sitting in her chair. And they would be on a cat. So she'll be like, oh, I saw such and such. He was a cat. He was in my chair. He was on a cat. And what she meant, well, like, I was like, what do they look like? And basically their head is on a cat's body. So that meant that they was about to transition. Okay. Now, if she saw them as a kitten, so if she saw somebody as a kitten, then she knew that they was about to give birth or new life was going to come into their family. But if she saw them as a full-grown cat and their head was on a full-grown cat's body, that was a symbol for her that they was going to transition. And she was always right. Like, literally always right. I'm talking about the next day they gone. Next day they gone. Every time. She also knew, she knew when somebody was about to get pregnant, because she said she could, they wouldn't even be pregnant yet. She would know, you're going to get pregnant in about a month. I could smell your milk coming. She could smell the milk on them. That's what she say. I could smell your milk coming. You're going to get pregnant soon. And she was always right. Always right. Okay, so that's why I said you got to know what signs and symbols and stuff mean for you. Okay, you got to know. It's you know, when you're new on your spiritual journey, all of this stuff could seem heavy. It could seem, you know, but it also could be very exciting and it could be fun. You know, to start. Don't overthink it now. Be calm. Don't overthink it. But just pay attention to, like I said, signs and symbols and what happens when those things take place. You said you had a great aunt like that. She knew. Yes, they be knowing. My great auntie was that lady. Okay, she was that lady when it came to the root. Okay, when it came to that root work. She was that lady. But you can't find the wellness chat. It said that the link is there. The link is there. You got to go to the last post. I just posted a link under the last post. Let me see. Can mean for different people. Yes, the symbolism can mean different things for different people. Animals outside of dreaming. Oh, you see a lot of animals. So that's like, if you're seeing a lot of animals show up in your actual life, then yeah, that's also a blessing. That's usually a sign that elders are around, or not elders, but ancestors are around, right? So if you keep seeing the same animal over and over showing up in your life, if you keep seeing animal feathers as well, that's important as well. Different feathers have different meanings. But if you keep seeing animal feathers as well, usually if you see white feathers, it's a sign of new life or a sign of new transition. So pay attention to stuff like that. But when you see certain animals over and over, you keep seeing things like that, that is a sign that, you know, it's new life happening. It's new life coming. Okay, so that's a sign. That's a sign. Okay, it's a sign that ancestors are around. It's a sign that spirit is around. Okay, so you got to pay attention to stuff like that. Yes, butterflies, things like that. A lot of butterflies, a lot of birds, you know, they really like showing up that way by showing you the same. A lot of bees that happens. What about rocks? You see a lot of rocks. It depends on where you seeing them, like how, you know, how often are you seeing them? What's going on when you see them? Red cardinals. Oh, red cardinals. Again, symbols are different for everybody. Symbols are different for everybody. But usually red cardinals for me is a sign that I need to do some Papa Legba work. So again, Papa Legba is the guardian of the gateways. Okay? The guardian of the gateways is Papa Legba. So that's usually a sign for me that I need to do some Papa Legba work. But I'm not telling you, because Papa Legba is an Orisha that you don't play with. You don't play with Papa Legba. That's not an Orisha that you dibble and dabble. You don't dibble and dabble. I was telling them in the wellness community the other day, I said, you don't work with Papa Legba until you're ready to get real and serious. Because that's not an Orisha that you be out here missing an offering on. Okay? That's not a oops, I skipped the day Orisha. Okay? So we don't play with Papa Legba. Okay? He's talking about, yup, you know, we don't play with Papa Legba. So that's why I said that's what it means for me. Maybe red cardinals means something different for you. I'm not telling you to start working with Papa Legba. I don't advise nobody. Okay? Okay? I'm not playing. I'm trying to see if I missed any questions. Y'all, I'm just pressing buttons. I'm trying not to kick nobody out. I'm new to the TikTok live. Y'all got a lot of buttons and signs and symbols going on. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of people saying ladybugs. Yes, you said there was a ward. What about wasp? Different wasp. I've been telling ancestors to chill with the bugs scaring me. Okay, so this is another thing, right? Like when it comes to like signs and symbols from ancestors, y'all, you got to make sure that there are no outside factors. Okay, this is very important, y'all. This is very important, and that's why I said don't overthink stuff. Make sure that there are no outside factors influencing your experience. I'll give you an example. We talking about candle magic, right? There was a sister who was like, recently my candle's been burning real fast. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I said, sis, the seasons have changed. Have you put your air on yet? Have you put your AC on yet? Nah, she hasn't. She had to put an AC on yet. Is it relatively warmer in your house? Yeah. That's why your candles is burning, babes. Spirit ain't telling you a damn thing. Your house is hot, sis. That's it. Okay? That's it. Okay? I'm seeing flies a lot. What flies mean? Have you checked around your house and made sure everything is clean? Have you checked your backyard? Make sure ain't nothing dead out there. Have you checked around? There's nothing causing flies. Okay? So you're seeing wasp a lot. Are there any wasp nests close to you? That's what I have to ask. You see bees a lot. Do you live by a beehive? Huh? Okay, these are questions that's important to ask. In the springtime, you're going to see a lot more bugs. As seasons change in general, you're going to see, especially right now, when the seasons change over the fall, a lot of tree animals are relocating. A lot of tree bugs are relocated. So it's winter time. We're moving into winter time, right? So as it gets colder, as the seasons change, you're going to see animals and bugs relocating. So don't be surprised if you see an uptick in that. It's the seasons affecting what you're seeing. So it's not necessarily spirit, it's outside factors. The temperature of your home will affect how your candle burns. What you have around your house is going to affect what animals and stuff you see. The seasons changing is going to affect your experience, right? So you'll know a spirit talking. This is what I always say. Okay, if you're taking notes, take this note. You will know spirit is talking when everything else is quiet. You will know spirit is talking when everything else is quiet. If everything else is quiet, and you still getting signs, you still getting omens, when everything is still, when everything is regular, when everything is plain, everything is moving in norm, but signs and omens are still coming in, that's spirit talking. That's why I tell people you got to sit and be still. When you're communing with spirit, you got to sit and be still, because you got to make sure it ain't your own ego that's influencing your thoughts. You got to make sure it ain't your own environment that's influencing how your altar is functioning. The coffee is going fast because it's evaporating quickly because it's hot as hell in your house. You got the heat up on 79. The coffee is gone. Huh? That water is bubbling up because it's about to boil. Cut that heat down. Huh? That's why you're seeing all them damn bubbles in your glass. The bubbles is in your glass because the house is dusty. The altar is dusty. You ain't cleaned off the altar in a while. The altar is dusty, babes. Okay, that's not good bubbles. Okay, that's not good bubbles. You got a salsa going on. So that's what I mean. Okay, so these are all questions I be asking. Okay, we talking about spirit talking. Spirit talks in a clean home, huh? Spirit like to talk in a clean home. Okay, clean down that altar. Make you some Florida water and clean that altar down. Use Florida water and clean down your altar, okay? And if all you have access to is the store-bought one, use what you got. But use that Florida water. I advise homemade, but use that Florida water and clean down your altar. Smudge it down as well, especially if you put a lot of offerings out. I ain't gonna. One person said that she was noticing a lot of gnats around her altar. This was during a warmer climate season. She's putting food out on her altar and leaving it there for days. When the climate is warmer, or if your home is warmer, you got to collect that food up off your altar faster than what you would in a cooler. I keep my house cool, right? If you keep your house warmer, I'm talking about warmer. When I say warmer, I mean 75, 76. If your house around that range, that food don't need to be out no 24 hours. It don't, really. Because it's warm, honey. You got bacteria. You got bacteria. Elders have died and left. That's leftovers at this point, babes. Recycle that. Go feed that to the tree. Okay? So that's stuff that you got to consider. You got to consider, okay? Clean down that altar. Keep it smudged. You need to be smoking your altar or putting smoke around your altar on a regular basis, okay? Smudge that altar down. Cleanse the energy. Keep it clean. Keep the air around there fresh, okay? Keep the air around there fresh. That's how you got to do it, all right? Let's see. Any more? Can we discuss the new moon and the eclipse? I just did a whole live about that on my tube. I did a whole live. The live is time stamped. I talked about the new moon. I talked about the Virgo energy. I talked about not the Virgo energy, excuse me, the Venus energy. I talked about how Scorpio affects it. I did a deep dive on what you should do. I gave a lot of journal props. I gave a lot of herb work and crystal work. I also did a Q&A at the end of that live. It's over an hour. Yes, it's on my tube. Thank you so much. It's over an hour long, and it's time stamped. So if you want to skim, I completely understand, because I know a lot of people ain't trying to sit on no video for no hour. If you want to skim, I completely understand. Scan the video. Scan the video. It's time stamped. Okay, so you could look and just pop in where you want to. That's what you could do if you want to. But the video is over there. You said do some research. Absolutely. Do some research. How do we make Florida water? So I have a whole Florida water recipe. Okay. And that recipe is in the Patreon, in the Wellness Community Patreon. It's a written recipe for Florida water. I can't tell you off the top of my head because my Florida water is intricate and I put a lot in it. But I have a whole recipe that's written down. But Florida water, I noticed that a lot of people are using, as the base of their Florida water, they're using vinegar. You don't have to use vinegar for Florida water, okay? That's what I will say here publicly. All right. The reason I'm hesitant about Florida water, telling my Florida water recipe publicly, is because I literally shared my Florida water recipe with somebody privately in a DM, and this person is now selling it in their business. They selling it in their business. Okay. Now the thing is, I had somebody, one of my mentees, they asked me my consent if they could use my Florida water recipe and start selling it, and I gave them the blessing, and I also consecrated their Florida water. I don't mind that with my consent. I don't mind stuff like that with my consent. I've been asked for multiple things of mine to be used, and I would allow it with my consent. But my issue is, I'm giving it to you from love, and you taking it for profit, babes. Come on now. That's why I'm like hesitant. But what I will say is, the best base for your Florida water is white rum. So white rum is often used in spiritual world as a cleanser. Okay, right, white rum. So when we make like spirit water to cleanse ancestors, right? So when you're working with ancestors, if you add the ancestors to your altar, you'll make spirit water, which is just white rum and water, and you will put their name on a paper and you drag it through the spirit water. If you have an ancestor who wasn't too good in the physical realm, you will cleanse them in the spiritual realm using the spirit water. You can also use spirit water to wipe down your altar. Okay, so white rum and water. Okay, you use that to make that spirit water. That's literally spirit water. White rum is very powerful. So when you're making Florida water, the best base is white rum to use. But if you are under the age of 21, Okay, if you're under the age of 21, vinegar is okay, but vinegar has a strong stench to it. Vinegar has I don't see how people just be rubbing vinegar down all over their stuff and not having to wipe up after it. Now, you could infuse that vinegar with like a lot of herbs and stuff like basil and bay leaf and things like that. And of course, it'll alter the smell a little bit, but when it dries, you still gonna smell that vinegar smell. But I advise heavily advise white rum. White rum is the best for your base of spiritual water. But can't open the chat. Okay, I'm gonna have to refresh the link. So the link expires every 24 hours. It shouldn't be expired though, because I just put the new link under. Did you do the most recent post? The most recent post from today. At the bottom, that should be the new link. It should be at least 24 hours. The link for the chat expires every 24 hours, but I just posted a new post today and put a new link today, so it should be working. But if not, once I get off here, I'll put another link in there. You say yes, you did the most recent. Okay, so I'll put a new link. What are your thoughts on the Ankh? Y'all, that's another video that's causing some controversy. Y'all, I put my video up about Egypt. Okay, if you know, on my page, I put my video up about Egypt and how they don't claim Black history when you get over there. So if you plan on visiting Egypt, if you go over there to the Egypt, don't be surprised if they tell you that them pyramids was not built by Black people and them pyramids is not a part of Black history. Don't be surprised when you go to the museums and you over there looking at the mummies face to face and you're looking at the hair texture and they telling you that these are not Black folks and that their hair is just that texture because it was damaged. That's what they say. It got dried out during mummification. That's why they say the hair looks 4C, but it's not 4C. It's just not cared for. Okay, so I put that video up. And it's been, of course, you have a lot of people who've actually been to Egypt and a lot of people who have studied, Egyptology and things like that. They are aware of this too, about the denial of Black history and the impact of Black people in Egypt. Okay, a lot of people are aware of this, but of course you have people who are denying it. This has also caused some people to reject, some Egyptologists reject Egypt as a part of just Black culture and Black history and things like that. For me, it didn't impact me in that way. I understood that, it's colonization and they have that perception because of colonization. And, I don't know why I didn't think about this before I went. I will say, I traveled Africa. I'm not going to say a lot, but I've been to quite a few countries in Africa. And I went over there with rose-colored glasses. To all my fellow Black history lovers, especially if you are African American, and you study Black history and you love it, and you plan on going to Africa. I moved to Africa. Okay, my intent was to repatriate. I'm talking about I was working for the New York City Department of Education. I quit my job. I put all my stuff in storage, and I relocated and moved to South Africa. That's how serious and deep I was. Okay, but I made a mistake, and I'm warning y'all, don't make the mistake I made, my people. I went over there with the rose-colored glasses. I went over there with expectations. And my expectation was utopia. My expectation, I knew that some people, I wasn't expecting everybody to say, "Oh, welcome home, my sister." I wasn't expecting that. But I was hoping for peace and prosperity and to feel kind of at home. But what I will tell you is this, and do with this as you will. So to answer your question, I love the Ankh. I value the Ankh. I value the history of Africa, despite how we may be received. What I will tell you is this, though, going back to my point. This is specifically to my African American people. We often complain about colonization here in America. We often complain about the effects of, colonization here in America. Think about how strong and how serious colonization had to be for somebody to come into your home and to be able to take your children and live to tell the story. Think about how strong that mental warfare had to be. Think about how strong that brainwashing had to be. That chemical warfare had to be. That spiritual warfare. That was a spiritual warfare. Think about how strong that had to be for somebody to come into your home and take your children and live to tell the story. That was some working. That was some working. So we complain a lot about colonization here. But what I will say is when I went there, I was like, oh. Y'all. Oh, okay. And that's what I was surprised about. That's what I was surprised about. That's what I was shocked about. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, somebody said especially in South Africa. I love South Africa. I love South Africa. I was there for 4 months in South Africa. Okay, I always have to think about the time because I spent a year just traveling. So I was in Bali for 1.5 months. I was in South Africa for 4 months. I spent time in Ethiopia. I spent time in Egypt. I was in Italy for a while. I went to Portugal for a while. I literally was just bouncing. But I believe South Africa was like 4 months straight in South Africa. And the thing about it is it was beautiful, right? Beautiful. And South Africa is very much like here. South Africa is very much like here. And y'all know I study spirituality everywhere I go. Y'all want to know some spiritual? You got to go. You got to search to find them. Search harder and that's why I said that power, that colonization, y'all. When you in South Africa and you trying to find you a good Sangoma, because that's their healers. Shout out to any South Africans who are watching this. I love y'all. Their healers, the Sangomas. You trying to find a good Sangoma. You got to go deep. Okay, you got to go like to Thokoza, like out there to find. Shout out to my homegirl Pooh who took me out to Thokoza where her family is from. And that's where, my first interaction with like understanding the Sangomas and being taught about the Sangomas. And then after that, having to, search even more and go on my own journeys and find people to learn the true of healing from the Sangoma perspective. So beautiful spiritual, y'all. Them Sangomas are some powerful beings. And their initiation process is no game, I'ma tell you. It's no game. I'ma tell you, honey. Okay, shout out to them Sangomas in South Africa. Y'all the true. So they kept that spiritual strong. But South Africa is very much like America, y'all. You go over to South Africa, I was taking Ubers everywhere. I was living, anybody from South Africa, first I was living I was in Johannesburg. I was living in Brixton first, and then I moved, some things happened in Brixton. That's where I experienced, I ain't even gonna go into it. I experienced a lot of like adverse things, right? A lot of adverse things, okay? And while I was in Brixton, and I ended up moving to Sandton, okay? If you from Johannesburg, Sandton is the area where you have like security at the front gate to the apartment building, okay? For my safety, I had to move to a complex with security at the front gate. Okay, of the building. But at the Sandton Mall, that's where you got the Gucci store. You got all the high-end fashion stores. You got Popeyes and Krispy Kreme. Y'all, it's like being at a mall out here. It's like walking through Lenox or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nice. It's nice. South Africa is very beautiful. They have a beautiful art district. Maboneng. Shout out to Maboneng. They have a beautiful art district. It's so dope. If you're in Johannesburg, shout out to them. It's gorgeous. The thing about South Africa is you got to remember apartheid, and you got to remember that they are still very much healing from apartheid. It was not too long ago. So they're still very much healing, and they're still in a fight for the land. When I was there 2018, 2019. So that the 2018, 2019, I was in South Africa. That whole fight for the land is a real thing. There's a lot that they don't show us on the news over here. So again, like I said, I went to Africa with rose-colored glasses. I didn't know this stuff was going on. I didn't know there was a war between the Uber drivers and the cab driver because Uber had just hit Johannesburg. And the cab drivers, that's their hustle. That's their tradition. And so if you live in New York, it's like having the dollar cabs, right? Think about how the Ubers affected the dollar cabs. But in South Africa, they wasn't playing that. They wasn't playing that. So they literally having, I can't say the word on TikTok, but they having pum pums in the middle of the street. Pum pum outs, okay? Pum pum, duck. They having pum pum outs in the middle of the street. That's how real South Africa get. Okay, if you ain't, I moved to South Africa from Brownsville, Brooklyn. So I was ready for the ready for. Okay, I moved from Brownsville, Brooklyn. So before I left, I was living in the Ville. Brownsville never ran, never will. You feel me? So shout out to Brooklyn. I was right by the 3 train. I don't live over there no more, so I can tell y'all now. I was right by the 3 train. But yes, I was ready. But I also was not desiring that. I was leaving Brownsville. I didn't want to move to a more Brownsville. That's how I felt when I was over there. I felt like I was in I was like, oh, this is, I don't even go through this in Brooklyn. What is happening? You know, like that's what it was. You feel me? So yeah, South Africa is amazing. It's dope, but y'all, it ain't no game. Okay, it ain't no game. You got to be ready. But they again, shout out to Neighbor Goods. You know, every time I think about like the crazy stuff, all the good stuff start popping in. Shout out to Neighbor Goods. Okay, that was my favorite thing to do on Saturday. Go to the Neighbor Goods, and you know they have like it's basically how can I describe Neighbor Goods? It's like an outside festival party, kinda like a day party, but it's like it's super dope, y'all. South Africa is dope, and I'm not trying. I don't want to scare anybody, but I want to put. I'm telling you what I wish people would have told me. You know, I'm telling you what I wish I would have knew before I went. Don't go over there looking for anything different than what you are experiencing. It's just a new version of what you are already experiencing in America. Okay. And it's the same. I spent 6 months in Ghana. It's the same thing in Ghana. I was in Kumasi, Ghana. Shout out to any Ghanaians who are watching this. Okay. I was in Kumasi, Ghana. Okay. And I spent 6 months in Ghana. Very different from South Africa. Very different in Kumasi. I wasn't in across the capital. Okay. So it's more capital, more big city like in Accra. I was in Kumasi, okay? I was in Fumeswa, for any Ghanaians. I used to live in Fumeswa Koko Bra. Okay, that's where I was at when I was in Ghana, in Kumasi. And it was amazing. It was so dope, so beautiful. Kumasi, I will say, if you are looking to go to Africa, if you have not been yet, start in Ghana. If you can't afford to go all the way to East Africa, to Ethiopia, start in Ghana. If you can't afford to go to Ethiopia, Ethiopia is the most peaceful, especially if you are going from a spirit. Y'all know, like I said, I always study spirituality everywhere I go. Ethiopia is the most peaceful. Ethiopia was the most calm. Ethiopia was the most universally welcoming, but I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't have anybody treating me like the American. I was treated like another person walking down the street. Nobody was ever stopping me. When I was in Ethiopia, nobody was stopping me and asking me questions or asking me anything. I literally used to be able to walk all over the streets and nobody say a word to me when I was in Ethiopia. I was in Addis Ababa. Okay, beautiful experience in Ethiopia. The only thing about Ethiopia, like I said, I'm telling y'all stuff that I wish people would have told me. Ethiopia is the only country that has never encountered full colonization. They've never been fully colonized. Okay, so Ethiopia stands strong in their culture. If you looking for, you know, real cultural eye-opening experience, go to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is so beautiful, y'all. Ethiopia is so amazing, and it's so like y'all. Ethiopia, I'm talking about. This is a place where you gonna walk down the street and you still see people herding goats, and that's their form of like transporting goods. Is using like a herd of goats and, you know, cattle and things like that. Like that's their form of transporting goods. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that type. But also because they are not, you know, in agreement, but or able to. I don't even want to say it like that, but because they're not in partnership with any other countries that previously colonized them, because they've never experienced full colonization, they're kind of behind in technology. Okay, they're kind of behind when it comes to like control. Like I had to stay in a hotel for 3 days straight because the air pollution was so bad that if you went outside, you would get severe headaches and people was passing out. Okay, because the air pollution was just that bad. We experienced a lot of like, it's the old fashioned where you gotta, some people have to go get their water. I got videos about this on my Instagram. I actually have some highlights where I talk about this. If you look at the highlights section, I have like areas where I'm talking about that. But you got to go get your water sometimes, things like that. So technology wise, they are kind of behind, but very peaceful, very calm. Ethiopia is beautiful. Back to Ghana though, back to Kumasi. Okay, Kumasi was amazing. Where we stayed, Fumaswa, was beautiful. Everybody was so welcoming, so loving. What I love most about Kumasi, and I didn't appreciate this, I will say, Ghana, I apologize to you, Ghana. I apologize to you, Ghana. You said Wakanda is in Ethiopia. Low key. Stop playing. Low key. Low key. Low key. Low key. That's why, y'all, if out of every country I've been to in Africa, when it comes to like where would I invest and purchase land and build, Ghana and Ethiopia. Ghana and Ethiopia, like hands down. But back to Kumasi. Ghana was so peaceful. Ghana was so peaceful. And I didn't appreciate it until after I left. No shade to South Africa. But I didn't appreciate the peace of Ghana until I went to South Africa. Okay? Ghana was so peaceful that there was a man and a woman and this is like community. There was a man and a woman arguing on the street because the woman, she was a head carrier. She was hustling and she was selling her goods. And the guy was rushing and I guess he bumped her and he dropped her goods. And she wanted him to pay her and they was arguing over whether or not he should have to pay. Y'all, the whole community, the whole area came in and everybody was like counseling the argument. Like everybody was like, hearing both sides of the story, and they sorted it out as a community. As a community, they sorted it out. That was the most beautiful thing I ever witnessed. Going to Kumasi is where I got to really study the village. Y'all know how like African Americans, we be complaining like, we don't have the village no more. We don't have the village no more. When I really studied the village in Ghana, I don't say that no more. And I don't allow people to say that around me. When I really studied the village in Ghana, I don't allow people to say we don't have a village no more, because we do. We just have a wrong perception of how a village is and how a village works. That's what we got wrong. But Kumasi is gorgeous. I learned a lot of lessons there. I was a Trocho rider. I was in Kumasi. Kumasi was the first country I went to in Africa. That was back in 2014. I was a Trocho rider. I was out there. That was 2013, 2014. I was out there. It was so dope. And like I said, Kumasi is one of the places where I would build. It's one of the places where I would invest in and get land and stuff like that. But also, Ghana has their things too. We had to pay the bribe. We had to pay bribe. And we had to, it's you got to get used to being pulled over by the police, and you got to pay a coin to be able to go, for no reason. Without warrant or merit. You got to get used to that. Happen to pay the bribe. Okay, you got to get used to that. Okay, so that was something that I was culture shocked about. I was like, oh, and that's what I be saying, like, African Americans, we complain so much, but we don't understand, like, we don't, I went over there not understanding. I went over there naive, Absolutely, corruption is everywhere. And my auntie, shout out to the elders, my auntie has transitioned now. And she used to always say, she used to be like, y'all just think I'm an old lady talking. Y'all just think I'm an old lady talking. But my auntie used to tell me this, and I'm going to tell y'all that. Leave y'all with it. My auntie used to say, everywhere you go, there's a war. The question is, which one are you willing to be a soldier for? Everywhere you go, there's a war. Everywhere you go, there's a battle to fight. Which one do you want to be a soldier for? And I'm speaking to my activists. I'm speaking to my activists. I'm not speaking to the folks who, no matter where you at, including in America, you don't do nothing. You not no change agent. You not involved in nothing. You just comfortable, peaceful. You have your little utopia in your mind. You ignore all corruption, all police brutality. I'm not speaking to y'all. I'm speaking to my activists. See, I'm an activist. I literally remember being on my father's shoulders when he was marching for Amadou Diallo. Okay? I remember Amadou Diallo. If you're from New York, you know 41 Shot. I remember Amadou Diallo. I remember the spark. And since then, I've been organizing and I've been, in movement. Okay. I was in movement for Sean Bell. I was in movement when I was living in Savannah, Georgia, going to SSU. Shout out to anybody from SSU for Troy Davis. If you know, you know. I was in movement for Troy Davis. I came back to New York. I was in movement for Mike Brown, and I was organizing protests. So I'm an organizer. I'm an activist. So I'm not nobody that's going to go to no country I'm in and mind my business. Okay? I'm not. That's not me. Okay? So if you're that type of person, anywhere you go, it's going to be something. Whether you in a country where women are not safe and women have to deal with a lot of SA, that's going to be the thing that's in your face, okay? I was in a country like that, okay? If you are in a country where, there's a lot of corruption and a lot of issues and a lot of police brutality in other ways, I think people kind of realized this when we was over here during the pandemic for George Floyd, and our Nigerian brothers and sisters was battling with the SARS movement. Remember that? And the juxtaposition in Black Lives Matter and how it was showing up from country to country to country to country to country. I think that's when the world really realized that, like, everywhere you go, it's going to be something, right? I think that's when we kind of realized that. Like, everywhere you go, it's going to be something. There's a war everywhere. The question is, which one are you willing to be a soldier for? So that's what I had to realize. And I didn't like it, because I ain't gonna lie, like, when I left Egypt was the last country I went to in Africa. When I left Egypt, I was hurt. I was disappointed. I felt let down because, again, I left everything. I was repatriating to Africa. I'm moving to Africa. I'm looking for my utopia. Like, I'm looking for where I'm going to have a family and raise my children. Like, I want that. I was looking for that. I was looking for the utopia. So when I'm traveling to every country and I'm running into a war everywhere I go, it's something. I was hurt, man. I was hurt. For me to go to like I said, Egypt was my last country. And for me to go to Egypt and y'all telling me, y'all worse than them. Y'all erasing Black history right in my face. Like, I'm looking at this pyramid that I know Black folks done built. And you telling me that, what? I was like, that's when I knew. I was like, I need to go home and regroup. And when I came back to it, like I said, I went to Italy after that. Then I spent some time in Portugal after that. And then I came back to America. And when I came back to America, the pandemic hit. So I've been here since the pandemic hit. And I'm not opposed to, going back to Africa. Like, I'm still open to it. I'm still open to traveling, and going to other countries. Next on my list, I want to do Tanzania. I want to do Kenya. I want to do Botswana. I could have did Botswana when I was right there in South Africa by Botswana. But instead I skipped way up and went straight to Ethiopia. But I want to do Botswana. They're on my list. But yeah. I'm definitely open, and I'm never going to stop visiting Africa. That's always my first go-to. Anytime I get the travel bug, I'm always going to hit a country in Africa first. And anybody who's desiring to go, just again, research. That's what I should have did, y'all. I'm very impulsive, right? When it comes to, I used to be. I've learned my lesson now. But I can't even say I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm talking about I learned my lesson. I will still book a flight in 2.2 seconds. But I'm very much like, before I would go to a country, I wouldn't really research it like that. The most research I'm doing is I'm going to find me a hotel to stay in. That's the most research I'm going to do. But I will say, if you are looking to travel, especially to Africa, research the country, understand the cultural dynamic, understand what's going on. I was also in South Africa right before an election. Again, that was the 2018, 2019. If you are South African, if you are from Joburg, especially, you are aware of what's going on. I was there right before an election, and everybody was telling us, like, y'all best to get out this country because this election gonna get crazy. Okay? And we was like, what? Whoa, what do you mean? What? You know, what? You know, but yeah, like, research the climate of that country before you get there. Okay, I wish I would have done that. I wish I also would have done that. Like I wish I would have known. If I would have known about what I would have experienced in Egypt before I went to Egypt, I would have planned my travel and my excursions better. Thankfully, I ran into a sister who was there, and she was there with a group, and they was doing a Nubian tour. So she snatched me up. I told her what I expect. I was like, girl, these folks out here trimming. And she was like, girl, come with us. Okay, we got our own tour guide. They had their own tour guide who was Nubian and you know, took them around. And I went and did the pyramids again. So I did the pyramids twice, and I did the museum twice. And I got their perspective, and then I got the Nubian perspective. So if you plan on going to Egypt, I'm not saying don't go to Egypt, because Egypt was beautiful. It was amazing. But you do them tours from the Nubian perspective, and you got to go out your way to find a Nubian tour guide. Thankfully, I ran into the sister, and she just pulled me in. But I found out later on, when I was trying to help somebody else plan their trip, you got to go out your way to find a Nubian tour guide, because y'all, if you wait till you get there, they gonna act like they don't know who or what the Nubians are, and like they don't exist. Okay? So you can't get there looking for the Nubians, because they're gonna be like, who? Who that? Who that? What? Okay, so go to Egypt. Go experience it for yourself. Experience the beauty. Experience the food. Experience the culture. I was treated well. I was just shocked about the denial of the impact of Black folks on history. That's what I was shocked about. But I was treated well. The food was good. The best falafel I've ever had. I don't eat meat, so I was eating a lot of falafel over there. The best falafel, y'all, this one lock, okay? The best falafel I've ever had was, in Egypt. It was an amazing experience, but again, you just gotta, you got to study and research every country before you go. That's it for Africa. You said a lot of Black people moving to Belize. I'm supposed to be going to Belize soon for a conference. So I've never been to Belize yet. I'm going for a conference next year. I'll be speaking at an event. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because I've heard a lot of beautiful things about Belize. So I'm looking forward to that. I will also say, if you are looking to travel outside of Africa, to anywhere outside of Africa, thank you. Bali, y'all. Bali, Indonesia was hands down, spiritually, my most life-changing trip. My most life-changing experience. If you are looking to travel, if you are a remote worker or anything like that, take your coin to Bali. Okay, I stayed at an ashram resort there. It's like it's an ashram, but it's like a luxurious ashram. They also have the more affordable side. That's like I was in Bali for a month and a half. I paid less than $1,500 for food, stay, yoga classes, everything daily for a month and a half. Less than $1,500. Okay, so Bali was amazing. Less than $1,500 for a month and a half now. Okay. Food and everything included. Classes, courses, okay, Kundalini yoga, all of that. Okay. Daily. Month and a half. Okay. Beautiful. It's called Om Ham in Ubud, Bali. Om Ham. I think it's OMHAM. Om Ham. Beautiful. Ubud. It opened me up. That's how I learned about Kundalini, the Kundalini awakening. Studied a lot of Hinduism while I was there. Go to Bali. It's a long trip. Okay, long trip. You said, how did you do that? Girl, I worked and saved for over a year. My plan was to repatriate to Africa. Like I said, I was working for the DOE. I was a teacher working for the Department of Education. At that time, I had 2 roommates in a 2-bedroom apartment. We was in a 2-bedroom apartment, 3 people. I had a room, another person had a room, and somebody had the living room and turned the living room into a bedroom. So all 3 of us was splitting rent. So I was paying about $600 rent, and I was literally saving. I had stopped getting, if you follow me on the tube, you know I had stopped getting my nails. I used to get my nails done all the time. Y'all, I still don't even get my nails done like that no more. But I used to get my nails done all the time. I stopped getting my nails done. I stopped eating out. I sacrificed, and I just saved and saved and saved and saved for over a year and a half. I did this over a year and a half. And then I was able to quit my job. Quit my job. Put all my stuff in storage. I got CubeSmart storage for $190. Put everything in there. So that means I'm leaving now. So I ain't paying no rent. So that's $600 something I would be paying towards rent. That 100 and something I was spending every month, $116 at the time, spending for a monthly Metro card to get back and forth to work. All of that is now freed up. So now instead of paying rent to stay in an apartment, now I'm paying a monthly rent to stay at a hotel. Or I got an apartment in South Africa. I had an apartment in Sandton. Okay, so you basically you just relocate from country to country. That's all you do. So put all your stuff in storage and you just relocate from country to country. But I'm telling you, how I got the money is I worked and I just saved. I was not playing. I had my sights set and I saved my money. Okay. And that's how I was able to do it. And thankfully I was blessed and it worked out. And if you, this is kind of bad, y'all. It's a terrible thing. But if you have y'all, when I say this, understand that this is not right, which is, also say this is why I did not take the job. This is why I didn't take the job. But unfortunately, when you are American, you get American privilege. When you travel to other countries, and it's terrible. But when you travel to other countries, you get American privilege. So how black folks be over here complaining about white privilege, when you go to other countries, you get American privilege. And it's a lot of Americans who are in other countries taking advantage of their American privilege. So when you see your American friends repatriating or they moving to somewhere, I be looking at them like, yeah, that's beautiful. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. But when I see them over there taking them people jobs and stuff like that, I'm like, not saying you're not qualified, but are you qualified? Make sure you get the job for your qualifications and not just because you're American. I ain't gonna front. I had an issue because and that's why I said you just gotta really I'm not with that type of stuff, so I didn't like that. But when I was in Ghana, I was literally in college. I hadn't even fully I was in my final year of college. I literally came back and walked in my graduation 2 days later. But still, I didn't even have a bachelor's degree in hand yet. They offered me a dean's position at the college. They offered me a dean's position at a college and I didn't even have a bachelor's degree. You see what I'm saying? That's problematic, bro. That's problematic. I'm thinking about all the people who waiting in line for that job. I'm thinking about the people who are Ghanaian, who are from Kumasi, who worked hard and went to school, and they put in applications for that job, and y'all ready to just hand it to me because I'm American. American privilege is a thing. It's really a thing. I was a teacher over here. I had quit teaching, went to South Africa, interviewed for a school, and they offered me a principal's position. I only had 4 years of teaching experience at the time. I had a master's degree in special education, but 4 years of teaching experience only. Think about that over here. Think about all you got to do to become a principal over here. I got a cousin who just became principal. She has 2 master's degrees in getting her doctorate, and she just became a principal. And y'all offer me a principal's position? I can't even respect that. I'm not even the type of person that would be proud of myself to take that. But there are people, who would be okay with that. So if you are that person and you want to go to another country, you want to move to another country and you feel like you don't have enough money, you're going to be able to get a job just because you're American. They're going to give you a job. It's horrible. It's messed up, but they gonna do it. Okay? Like I said, I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't feel morally correct. But you will see a lot of people out there that are American because they have it's called expat. EXPAT, expat. They have expat communities that are full of this. And those expat communities, they probably mad if they on this live that I'm spilling these beans because this is probably some of y'all. You know you ain't qualified for that job you done took from them native citizens. You know you ain't qualified. But see, that's a part of like repatriation that a lot of people won't talk about is that when you go to those countries, you become the gentrifier. Let's speak on it. Let's speak on it. You said, guess I'm going to go be a principal. Sis said, guess I'm going to go be a principal then. I could not. You ain't no good. But you know, when a lot of us as American, and that's why I said, like, it has really shifted, me traveling, it shifted my perspective on America. It shifted my perspective on how I perceive white privilege and racism and all of that and nepotism and stuff like that. Because y'all, as Americans, we go to other countries and do the same thing. I'll say, for example, right, like I said, I love Kumasi. Kumasi is a country I would invest in. It's a country I would build in. But you also will see, you go and you see a lot of Americans going with $10,000, $20,000, and you gentrifying a community. You go into a community and you building this big old house, and you are essentially the gentrifier. You are how we feel in black neighborhoods. When I was living in Brownsville, when I was living in Harlem, let me speak for Harlem, right? It was one point I was living in Harlem on 175th Lex in Harlem, right? And literally across the street, this big brand new gentrified building popped up. And I was like, here they go. That's how they feel when we pull up. That's how they feel when we pull up. When we pull up and you got your 10,000 and you buying some land and you building this house, you got your 20,000 and you building a house. That's how they feel when we pull up. Here they go. Here they go. So we think about this now. Think about this. Come on, black folks, let's be for real. Come on, African Americans, let's be for real about yourself. You be mad at the gentrifiers when they start gentrifying your community, but you'll go back to Africa and you'll gentrify them with your American privilege. You're a part of the problem too. You a part of the problem too. You do the same thing. You oppress people the same way that you complain about your oppression. How are you invested in that community? How are you helping the people around in that community? Like let's really, y'all, it's a deep conversation. I'm telling you, when you start traveling, you start seeing the effects of because when you go over there, I don't care how welcoming the country is, you still ain't native. So when you go over there, you are the American guy, you are the American girl, you have the American privilege, and you go throwing your money around because of course your money multiplies over there. So you are viewed as a wealthy American person. You carry a privilege. Okay? And a lot of times we don't realize. I'll say this. I told my homegirl, I said, you complain about white privilege until you become white. Travel this world, you're going to see what white privilege feel like. You're going to see why a lot of them don't understand why we have an issue. A lot of them don't understand what we're talking about. They can't see their privilege. The same way when you travel to those other countries and you so happy that that your American money has multiplied and you buying up stuff and you traveling around and you got your little private driver and you in your nice fancy hotel and all of that stuff. Putting that privilege on was real easy, wasn't it? You like how it feel, don't you? It feels quite nice, don't it? Got that job a little easy, didn't you? Barely had the interview, barely qualified, but you got that job though. That privilege feels good, huh? Feels good. You got that privilege, right? You know, this how I be having to tell some black folks. Like I told my homegirl, I said a lot of black folks think they here. You ain't here. You really about here. You ain't here with it. You're really about here. And that's okay. I need you to admit that. I need you to admit that, though. I need you to admit that. Stop acting like you're here. You're really about here. Because if you go over there, you're going to take that principal job, huh, sis? Sis said, I'm walking in my privilege, okay? I'm walking in my privilege. I've been oppressed long enough. I'm going to be privileged somewhere. I'm taking my privilege. Sis said, principal, shit. I love my people, but goddamn, like that. That's how it really feels. Like it's a battle, and you don't realize, like, we complain about white privilege, but you don't realize how hard it is to surrender that privilege until you're put in a position of privilege. I'll just leave it at that. You don't realize how hard it is to surrender that privilege until you're put in a position of privilege. When I was in the expat communities in Bali, when I was in the expat communities in South Africa, I'm in the expat community. When I was in Italy, I was calling it out, especially to the other Americans, because it's easy to go over there and play victim. I was in a circle in South Africa, right? And they talking about, police brutality in America, and also an American guy, he's talking about all we go through as black people. Sir, you have not near degree. Not near degree. You're sitting on the board of a business, an education business. He was sitting, the business he was sitting on is the hiring board. He's on the hiring board that works with over charter schools in that area, works over like private schools in that area. And he is in charge of hiring principals and stuff like that. He ain't got not near degree, but you determine who becomes a principal. Not a single degree. Nigga, you would be at McDonald's if you was in America. You probably barely finished high school. You would not be sitting on nobody's hiring board. And he was like 21, 22. You would not be on nobody's hiring board. And you have no degree or nothing, not an American, and you is black. Sir, you over here complaining about all we go through. Yes, you are right. You have a right to voice our experience. But I also need you to realize that you have become the very thing you hate. You have become the very thing you dislike. The very thing you despise, you have become. You're complaining about gentrification, but you are now the gentrifier. You're complaining about white privilege, but you are now the privileged person because you're using your American privilege to take jobs from native people in this country who deserve them. Your app got put on top just because you American. You wrong. You wrong. If you could point at them and say they wrong, you wrong. If you get mad when you sit in that interview with that white man and he's barely qualified, but he get that job just because he white, you just as wrong when you sit in that interview and you sitting next to a native South African who's overly qualified, but they can't get that job because your American self is sitting in that chair. You're wrong. You're wrong, sir. Needless to say, he don't speak to me no more, and our date was canceled. Our date was canceled, and the brother was fine. But I got to call it out. I got to call you. I got to bring you to the table, sir. Okay, you're wrong. Okay, you're fine, but you ain't fine enough for me to act like you're right. You ain't fine enough for me to act like you're right. You're wrong. So that's something that we have to consider. Anybody who's considering traveling, anybody who's considering repatriating or relocating to another country, consider how your privilege plays a role. How are you going to utilize, because the privilege will exist. It will exist. Even in certain spaces where I didn't want, of course, I don't want the job. But when I go to a restaurant and the waiter comes to me first because I'm American and they're assuming that I have more money and I'm going to tip because in America, tipping is normal. So they know if they come to an American, they're going to leave with a tip, especially if you're in a country where tipping is not the norm. So they're going to come to the American first. That's a moment where privilege comes into play. How are you going to utilize your privilege? The same thing we ask of white folks over here. How are you utilizing your privilege to combat racism? You got to ask your American self over there when you get that American privilege. How are you going to utilize your American privilege to combat whatever issue is going on over there? Okay, so you got to be prepared for that. But I'm only speaking to my people that's here. if you here and you real about it, do you. Enjoy yourself. You're going to have a beautiful experience. You're going to have a beautiful experience. Okay, my here, folks, it's going to be a lot of thinking, a lot of analyzing. You're going to realize a lot about yourself and your privilege. It's going to force you to be introspective and really unpack how you view white people here. You know, like it really, I'm telling y'all, before I left, before I started traveling heavy, I'm ashamed to say this, I was the negative hotep, because hotep is a positive word, really. But I was a negative hotep. I was the traditional submerged in everything black. The man. You know, I was one of them, y'all. I was deep down, okay? I was Umara Johnson, okay? Let me tell you, okay? Call me Umisha Johnson. I was there. I promise you, I was terrible. Okay? I was terrible. But traveling caused me to unpack America. It caused me to unpack my perception of America. It really did. It caused me to really look and be like, I see why. I see how. I see how they get so comfortable in that privilege. I also see how they don't even realize that the privilege is happening. I see how. I see why. If I got the choice of being jobless or taking this job from that person that really deserves it, but I'm going to take it because they offering it to me, shit, what I'm going to do? I'm going to be jobless or I'm going to take this job. Sorry. I see how easy it is to make that decision. It really toned me down. It really toned me down because I was fierce. I was fierce before I went, but it really like toned me down in a good way because it made me see things from a different perception. Like I said, I was able to see how and why they move how they move. I was able to see why like y'all people like I'm not saying all white folk. Okay, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying some of them who really be acting oblivious. They really be oblivious, y'all. And you know how I know? Because when your privilege hits you, when you travel and that American privilege hits you, you gonna be oblivious. You're gonna be oblivious. It was so many, even now to this day, like it's I'm pretty sure it's an American who has traveled on this live and probably watching this like, damn, I didn't even think about that. But that did happen to me when I was in this country. I did have some American privilege when I was in this country. I was flexing a lot when I got them extra, when my money multiplied and I hit that currency exchange. When I left, I did feel different. I did feel rich. I was walking with my big rich boots on. You know, you realize how quick that privilege hits you. A lot of us don't even realize. So now when I see them, like I said, we ain't giving no passes now. We ain't giving no passes. But I understand when they be oblivious. I understand when they don't understand why nepotism is an issue. I understand when some of them don't realize how privilege is helping them in a moment. I understand because I was there. I experienced it. I experienced another American expat being like, hey, sis, you looking for a job? I got you, sis. That's nepotism. When I go to another country and I run into another American and we become friends and she like, hey, I work for such and such. You looking for a job? You come work over here, girl. I cut you a check. Let's go. I got you. That's nepotism. I ain't deserve that. I don't deserve that job. Girl, what you doing? That's nepotism. So we can't, I ain't gonna say we can't be mad at them when they do it, but I understand how easy it is to do it and how easy it is to not realize that it's problematic. When I see them gentrifying the community and they like, I'm just trying to build a better house and I found some cheap land, and I understand that you feel like this is gentrification, but it's been my dream to build this house and I got the money and I could afford it over here, so I'm gonna do it. That's what it's like when you go travel to Ghana somewhere and you talk about building a house and you gentrifying the whole village. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You the Whole Foods opening up on 125th. That's what you are. If you're a New Yorker, you know. You the Whole Foods opening up on 125th. So you got to think about that. Oh, Sugar Bones, y'all, that's my homegirl. If anybody who asked me about readings, if you looking for a reading too, my homegirl Sugar Bones, y'all, follow Sugar Bones. She also does like hoodoo folk tales and stuff. She tells hoodoo folk tales on her page. She's on this live, okay? Y'all go follow Sugar Bones and book a session with her. She does actually. She has a lot of good reviews. People in the wellness community be posting like reviews and stuff about her, and she does good reading. Shout out to Sugar Bones. Hey girl. But yeah, we said Harlem world, baby. Okay, I lived in Harlem for almost 2 years. Yeah, during the whole pandemic, I was in Harlem. I just moved back to Brooklyn last year. I want to say time is flying, really. So almost 2 years I was in Harlem. I was on 107th and Lex in Harlem, and I used to work on 127th and Lenox. I used to, right, 127th and Lenox, I think. That's where I was working. That was a long time ago. That was like 2014, 2015. But yeah, I was over there. I used to work in the probation building on 127th. I used to teach. I was the school on the first floor of the probation building. That was me. I was Miss Poe. Okay, so I used to teach students who just came home. So they would come home from like Rikers. This when Rikers was still doing this before the Raise the Age campaign. That we was a part of the Raise the Age campaign. So we are the reason why they changed the age where they are no longer allowed to house children under 17, children in Rikers. I was getting the kids when they just came home from Rikers. When they came home from Rikers and the girls from Rosie's and stuff like that, I was in the probation building on the first floor. Right across from Temple number 7, Malcolm X Temple. Right across from Temple number 7, I was in the probation building. I was the school on the first floor of the probation building, Temple number 7. But yes, when that Whole Foods hit, I was working there when the Whole Foods opened. So when I speak about gentrification, that's the perspective. I'm speaking of the perspective of seeing Harlem and working in Harlem and traveling there every day from Brownsville to Harlem, every day to go to work. And I'm seeing how the neighborhood is changing and how the vendors is being pushed off the block because the Whole Foods has now opened up. Okay? So that's what we talking about. Okay, when we speak about Harlem, speak about gentrification. But all right, y'all, I'm about to get up off here. I love y'all. We done went down the whole journey of talking about spirituality and everything and all of that, and traveling and expatting and all kind of stuff. Sugar Bones is saying hey to everybody, okay? But yes, y'all, we done been on the whole journey, okay? I enjoyed my first TikTok live experience. Yes, we done talked about everything. Okay, we done went all through Africa. we done went to Bali. Okay, I told you I go to, for cheap tickets, how I book travel for cheap tickets. It's called, the website, I went to, it start with an S. Ooh, Lord. What's the website? It start with an S. My neighbor's smoking weed and I can smell it and it's affecting me. That's why I can't remember. My neighbor is smoking. And I can smell it and it's hitting me and my whole spirit is craving, huh? My whole spirit is in desire. So I can't remember it in my mind because I smelled the good marijuana. I forgot what the website was, Lord. Starts with an S. But yes, it's not Skip Leg. It's another one, y'all. See, Secret Flying is with Skyscanner. That's it. There you go. Skyscanner is the website. Lord, it's the weed. Skyscanner is the website. That's where I booked all my cheap flights. So, y'all, when I went to Bali, now since the pandemic, the tickets have been crazy. But when I went to Bali, y'all, I can show y'all the screenshot. I paid $358 round trip from New York to Bali. Now I was in coach. I had a 13-hour layover in China. And then on the way back, I chose to do a 7-day break. Okay, so I booked 2 different tickets on the way back because I wanted to spend a week in China so I could explore China. But yes, $358 round trip. Skyscanner.com. That's how I found it. Now, I was on the website nonstop, day and night, for like a week straight before I got the cheap ticket. But sometimes they'll have a dramatic drop, and that's when you got to book. Skyscanner.com, $358. So when I say I spent that month and a half in Bali, I spent less than $1,500 for my stay, room and board, food, everything. Less than $1,500. Yoga classes, all of that. But I spent $1,500 total. About 15 total, including the flight, because my flight was only $358. People don't be believing me when I tell them I did a month and a half in Bali for $1,500. That flight was $358. $358. Skyscanner. Okay, Skyscanner. I'm telling y'all, that's a good site. And then for hotels, I just booked on the old fashioned booking.com for hotels and stuff. I don't do Airbnbs, y'all. If you on my tube, type the Queen Pole Bali, and I got vlogs documenting my Bali trip. You will see why I don't do Airbnbs no more when I travel. Okay, you will see I don't do Airbnbs. I do hotel only. I'm very strict on that. Hotel only. I don't do no Airbnb no more when I travel. Okay, but yes, that's how you get the cheap stuff for the Bali. But all right, y'all, I'm heading out. And it wasn't Spirit either, but I was in Coach, and I'll never do that shit again, huh? I'll never, y'all, that flight, to get to Bali, it takes over a day, because you're going to have a little layover. It's always a layover somewhere, okay? But I'll never fly in Coach for that long again, okay? Okay, I felt like an elder for real, okay? My feet were swelled up. You got to get up and keep walking throughout the flight, okay? You be jet lagged as ever, sitting in Coach, cramped up, y'all. It's for hours straight, y'all. I'm telling you, if you got the coin, go first class. I wouldn't go again unless I could go first class. But if you're willing to sacrifice, and if you're skinny, see, I'm a big girl. Okay, you're looking at a size 18, huh? I'm a plus. You're looking at an 18. So you got an 18 thighs and thighs and yes, huh? I'm a thickums, huh? I'm a ham hock, okay? I'm a steak, no T-bone. Tomahawk. Okay? And I'm sitting in a coach seat. In a coach seat. Body full. In a coach seat. For damn near a day straight. Never again. But the trip was beautiful and it was worth it. It was beautiful and it was worth it. If you got a coin, go first class, okay? If you slim and you're willing to make the sacrifice, okay, go ahead and go. Yes, I'm a tomahawk, okay? But yes, it was worth it. It was worth it. But $358, y'all, skyscanner.com. Okay, y'all, I'm about to go out. I said it about 3 times. I don't even know how to end the live. I think you press this little button over here in the corner. Maybe I'll do this again. I really enjoyed myself. I'm going to try to do this. Oh, you like my voice? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bye, y'all. Okay. Oh, yes. And now.